The five-magnet immortal mountain is a fragment of a world, and Jiang Fan just learned his proudest path might be a dead end. He's got the angels, the schemes, and a little killin with something glowing in its mouth. But the heavenly Tao doesn't play favorites. Drop a like and subscribe to see if he can crack the seal. The holy angel naturally knew about the five-magnetic element mountain in Jiang Fan's hand and chuckled. Yours should just be called a rock. It's a fragment flaked off from the five-magnet immortal mountain. The true five-magnet immortal mountain is as heavy as a world. If you can refine it into a treasure, no one in the world could withstand its pressure. Jiang Fan gasped softly. As heavy as a world? Wouldn't that mean if it hit, it would scatter into pieces? A strong expectation arose in his eyes. He certainly wanted to witness the five-magnet immortal mountain someday. As if seeing his thoughts, the holy angel chuckled. You really dare to imagine and dare to act. Just right, your journey of magic cultivation is nearing its end. In the future, you're destined to focus on body refinement, and the five-magnetic element mountain is suitable for physique training. It would be good to get a piece of the five-magnet immortal mountain sometime. Jiang Fan was smiling, but suddenly furrowed his brows. He asked doubtfully, My journey of magic cultivation is nearing its end. Senior, are you worried I won't be able to break through to the sage realm? His cultivation status was promising. He had already found insights, and could begin to perceive the domain of the heavenly person 4 declines, and soon would start perceiving the domain of the heavenly human 5 declines. Additionally, he already had a merit divine pearl, allowing him to directly ascend to the sage realm. If he couldn't enter the sage realm, then few in Central Earth could. The holy angel was slightly surprised, reappearing in human form with a slight frown. Has no one ever told you that the ancestor Tao doesn't enter sage? What? Jiang Fan felt as if his heart was heavily battered, exclaimed. Ancestor Tao doesn't enter sage? Why? Why? The holy angel shook his head slightly. There's no why, it's just the iron rule from ancient times. As far as I know, none of the current saints practice the ancestor Tao. Jiang Fan was stunned on the spot. This unexpected news left him unable to calm down for a long time. Are there no people in other worlds practicing the ancestor Tao? The holy angel recalled. In the vast river of history, hasn't every sort of person appeared? Though those who condense the ancestor Tao are extremely rare, maybe only once in 100 years, yet they exist. Their fate has only 2 paths. One is to halt at the great venerable realm to decay in time. Another is to abandon cultivation and start anew. None succeeded in crossing the great venerable realm. Jiang Fan was dazed, standing in place. The ancestor Tao he took pride in turned out to be a dead end in the martial path. Why is it like this? Jiang Fan found it hard to accept. The holy angel looked up to the firmament, said, Perhaps it's heaven's will. The heavenly Tao balances, the ancestor Tao gives practitioners extraordinary power, naturally accompanied by corresponding flaws. Besides, your human clan's current cultivation system is overly defiant, so the heavenly Tao suppresses it more. Jiang Fan remained silent. Everything is a double-edged sword. The ancestor Tao has twice the usage than others, possesses abilities unparalleled in other domains, which is already unusual. Hence, with such a downside, it makes sense now. But how did the human clan's cultivation system become defiant? Jiang Fan doubted. Our human clan's cultivation system is defiant too. I feel our human clan's cultivation system is exceedingly stringent. Need to testify the Tao in the nascent soul realm. A slight mistake leads to madness. Barely testify the Tao in divinity transformation, every breakthrough requires re-enlightenment. Those who reach the great venerate realm are very few, whereas other cultivation systems, whatever it is, your angel clan, Asura clan, or even ancient giants, as long as the bloodline is strong enough, cultivation soars swiftly. The human clan's cultivation system, though greatly limiting bloodline inheritance, provides opportunities to ordinary people, but indeed doesn't benefit the overall strength of the human clan. The holy angel listened quietly, said, You've only spoken of nascent soul and divinity transformation. What about the sage realm? Jiang Fan paused, realizing a peculiar issue. The human clan sage realm only has 3 tiers. 1 calamity realm, 2 calamities realm, 3 calamities realm. But the angel clan, Asura clan, and ancient giants all have 9 levels. The holy angel smiled. Finally noticed? Among all races, except the demon race which partially mimics yours, other races' virtuous realm has 9 levels. Only you human clan and some demon races have 3 levels. This indicates what needs no saying, right? Jiang Fan gasped softly. This means the human clan can master stronger powers in less time and quickly advance to the saint realm. The human clan's cultivation system, tough in the early stages, but late stage is akin to cheating. The holy angel said, "Although your Central Earth human clan looks weak, in my era the human clan dominated the world. At the level of sage, saint, no race together could rival. All races lived under the human clan's dominance. If not for a major event that happened 10,000 years ago, the present world may not even give our races a space to breathe." Jiang Fan showed shock. Was the human clan so glorious 10,000 years ago? And what major event happened 10,000 years ago? Thinking carefully, the time frame of 10,000 years ago had many significant events. 10,000 years ago was when Central Earth was established, also when ancient dark creatures first descended, and it was when Hell Realm and Heavenly Realm War happened. Everything began 10,000 years ago. He couldn't help asking curiously, "Does Senior remember what happened 10,000 years ago?" The holy angel pondered. "Explosion. A prehistoric great explosion that affected the world. Afterward, the structure of the world was changed completely." Jiang Fan couldn't quite imagine what this prehistoric great explosion described by the holy angel was like, nor what the so-called world referred to. Was it an explosion of one world or of a massive void? Oh well, these aren't important, they're too distant to question. Thinking, he suddenly remembered something, frowned. "But why do I hear our Central Earth's cultivation system was created by Yunwang Ancient Sage? Wasn't Yunwang Ancient Sage just taking credit falsely? This was clearly created by ancestors of the human clan 10,000 years ago." Unexpectedly, the holy angel looked at Jiang Fan with a hint of envy in his eyes. Isn't there a possibility that the human clan's cultivation system was indeed created by her? Huh. Huh! Jiang Fan's eyes widened, almost doubting his ears. The human clan's cultivation system was created by Yunwang Ancient Sage. Is this right? The holy angel revered. Yunwang Ancient Sage is one of the oldest saints in the world. Before her, your human clan's cultivation system was akin to other races, primarily bloodline-based with resources as supplement. Who was the son of the saints? Offspring of the sages, who would be the next saints, sages ahead of others. But the human clan is inherently deficient, unable to compete with the powerful bloodlines of some races with strong ancestors among the all races. Therefore, before her, the human clan was very weak among the all races. Until Yunwang Ancient Sage suddenly emerged and created a new cultivation system. The holy angel paused for a moment when speaking about this. The awe in their eyes turned to reverence. In her cultivation system, she doesn't rely on bloodlines. She cultivates through comprehending the heavens and proving the Tao. While other races were still relying on the power of blood in the nascent soul realm to cultivate, she was already initially comprehending the heavens, cultivating her domain. And when other races started to comprehend the heavens in the virtuous realm, she had already completed her early stage accumulation, cultivating as swiftly as lightning. Later, the human clan fully switched to her cultivation system, rapidly strengthening, the number of strong surpassing all races, eventually emerging as the dominant ruler of heaven and earth. Jiang Fan listened, speechless with shock. The venomous woman, ancient saint of cloud desolation, has such a significant background. Created the strongest cultivation system in heaven and earth with her own power, rewriting the fate of the human clan. Is this reasonable? Is it truly the same person as the petty ancient saint of cloud desolation he knows? The holy angel looked at Jiang Fan, not hiding their envy. Though I don't know why, the ancient saint of cloud desolation seems to value you greatly. To have such a being who once rewrote heaven and earth care so much. I think even the saints of the current era would be envious. Jiang Fan waved his hand. Don't envy. You don't really know her. This woman is hard to please. The holy angel's mouth twitched. How should I say? It felt a bit like a humble brag. Does this guy know what he's talking about? Shaking his head, he said. We're digressing too much. In short, due to the change in cultivation system, the path of cultivation of the human clan disrupted the balance of all races. Your path that is above the human clan, even more against the heavenly Tao balance, how could it not be interrupted? To my knowledge, no ancestor path practitioner has become a sage. Jiang Fan had already adjusted his emotions. He dared to defy the fate of death, let alone the severing of the martial path. Eyes full of battle intent, he said. Then I will try to break the curse of the ancestor path and become the first ancestor Tao entering sage. The holy angel's eyes lit up, unable to resist praising. Really underestimated you. Ordinary people, when they learn this, even if not depressed, would be severely impacted. The fact that you made it this far today is truly not due to luck. I advise you to ask the ancient saint of cloud desolation. She is the creator of the human clan cultivation system. She might have a solution to ancestor Tao not entering sage. Jiang Fan sneered. I'm not asking that old woman. I'll figure it out myself. The holy angel's mouth twitched again. This guy still doesn't understand the fearsome nature of the ancient saint of cloud desolation. If she really gets angry, even the 100 realms of all heavens would tremble thrice. Be careful. The holy angel muttered, transformed into angelic patterns and returned to purple thunder. Jiang Fan took a deep breath. Having a conversation with the saint's spirit, he gained an astonishing amount of information. Lacking knowledge on anything in the future, he could ask him, as long as it's within the scope of his memory. Stowing away purple thunder and green frost, Jiang Fan soared into the sky, his gaze directed towards the direction the Netherworld King previously went. Now, he only has one thing to do. Seize the giant king transformed from 100 angel leaders. Of course, if he could simultaneously destroy the ancient blood pool, it would be a once-and-for-all solution. He switched back to poison body and then sped towards that direction. He's somewhat curious who exactly is causing disruption in the southern heavenly realm. Could it really be a human clan member? An hour later, within a massive man-made sky pit, an enormous blood pool emits a sky-covering blood light. From several miles away, Jiang Fan could feel the extreme negative emotions contained in the blood pool. Could they have combined all the other blood pools together? Jiang Fan's eyes showed shock. According to prior information, from beyond the heavens 9 ancient sky pit blood pools descended, 1 per tribe. The one of the Black Sun Royal Court was first destroyed by him. The other 8 tribes brought their ancient blood pools to Central Earth for battle. 4 of the battlefields were targeted by great wine sacrifices, their blood pools extinguished by a sage's strike. Amongst the 4 remaining pools, the Central Tribe's pool was each carried by their ancient giants, perishing together with the human clan. Hence, only 3 blood pools remain. The blood pool before him is so immense, it should be the combination of 3 pools. If it could be destroyed, the southern heavenly realm would have no further ability to create new ancient giants. But currently the surroundings of the blood pool are filled with giant kings, along with 2 giant emperors stationed on the east and west sides. Any disturbance would be detected by them. Jiang Fan immediately extinguished the thought of destroying the blood pool. The giants also understand the importance of the blood pool. They would never let it suffer any mishaps. Better to take the 100 angel leaders. As long as the northern heavenly state doesn't act foolishly, pay tribute of population to them. The ancient giants will find it very difficult to increase their strength anew in the short term. At this moment, a surge of strong negative emotions radiated over. A normal human clan member would probably have started experiencing serious discomfort, but Jiang Fan's poison body contained a complete holy crystal. It could suppress even the cursed sun wheel, let alone mere extreme negative emotions. Jiang Fan acted as if undisturbed, retrieved the sky observation treasure, and immediately began investigating the surroundings from his center. Quickly, in a canyon just 10 miles away from the ancient blood pool, he saw the giant kings imprisoned there. Just as Little Roo said, numbering 100. Moreover, there are even 2 5-star giant kings amongst them. There are also several 3-star and 4-star ones. If such battle power were unleashed onto the battlefield, how many casualties would the Central Earth Army sustain? Thanks to Little Roo's reminder, he was prepared, avoiding the loss of many Central Earth warriors. When he returns, he'll reward her well. Above the canyon, relatively few giant kings are guarding. Firstly, due to the 2 giant emperors near the blood pool, any stir in the canyon wouldn't escape their notice. Secondly, the canyon's air is filled with strong negative emotions. Aside from the ancient giants, no one can approach easily. Jiang Fan lightly furrows his brow. These 2 giant emperors are very troublesome. Trying to evade their perception, knock out all the giant kings, and rescue them all is very unrealistic. Unless there's a huge distraction to temporarily block their sensing. He lurked, contemplating various feasible methods, but each one seemed unable to bypass the 2 giant emperors. Faced with absolute strength, many strategies appear futile, while he was considering whether to take a long-term view. Suddenly, there was a stir from the direction of the blood pool. He activated the sky observation treasure to explore, and in the image, there was an elderly human with the heavenly human 5 declines, with white hair and an aged face, bound and led to the front of the blood pool. There truly is a strong human clan member and still a great venerate. Jiang Fan was stunned, full of confusion. Could it be a strong human clan member from another world? He zoomed in the image, finally seeing the elderly's features clearly. At first glance, it seemed familiar, but he couldn't recall who it was. But upon carefully recalling, his pupils contracted, exclaiming with shock, "Isn't this the one from the end of the heavenly ascending ancient road, the one decaying in the divinity transformation realm? Why is it him?" Jiang Fan clearly remembered. He once rushed to the summit of the heavenly ascending ancient road in search of a way to resurrect Ling Shu, and came face to face with this elder. He claimed to have been a divinity transformation realm of Central Earth, chosen as the host of the heavenly ascending ancient road upon nearing death. Back then, he was already reeking of foul odor, undergoing the heavenly human decline tribulation. Now seeing him again, the decay was completely gone, revealing his renewed strength. Heavenly human 5 declines. Who would have thought that their next meeting would be in the southern heavenly realm? The pretty female angel named Little Rue spoke of a human clan strongman, and it should be him. However, his situation was dire. His divine ring was cracked, scars covered his body, and his legs were broken by the power of laws, unable to recover. The Netherworld King, holding the incapacitated Ling Xuzi, said, "I thought it was a formidable great venerate from Central Earth sneaking in. Turns out it's just an old man on the brink of death. Throwing you into the blood pool is such a waste of its energy. Why not enjoy your retirement in Central Earth peacefully, instead of coming to our heavenly realm to cause trouble?" It's hard to believe that the old man in front of them once relied on the invisibility power to successfully reverse a 5-star giant king right under 2 giant emperors' noses. Not only that, but he also successfully escaped their pursuit. Despite Ling Xuzi being severely injured, his eyes remained as resilient as unyielding bamboo. He laughed hoarsely. "Enjoy retirement. Ha ha ha. 1,000 years ago, I watched your giant king devour my lover, and saw your giant crowd stomping 6 of my disciples to death. Also saw your giant emperor extinguishing a city with a single teasing snap. Countless Central Earth beings exploding into blood mist in agony. Yet I was powerless, forced to watch Central Earth turn into earthly purgatory. 1,000 years have passed. That period became an indelible nightmare for me, every moment drowning me in guilt and regret. And now you want me to enjoy retirement? Ha 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 ha. In my life's final moment, I only want to accomplish one thing. That's to kill giants, kill all of your giants." The Netherworld King looked skyward silently. A bearded elder, an unnamed great venerate with limited life, all harbor the will to annihilate giants. How many such figures does Central Earth have? He recalled the forgetful wild elder carrying the sage's tombstone, risking his life for a future glimpse for Central Earth. Remembered Xingyuan Venerable's self-sacrifice, sinking Hun Yuan, eternally burying the heavenly realm's ancient giants into void. Remembered the entire lineage of Confucian practitioners, spending millennia, exhausting generations of efforts opening the Spring Mud Plan. Also recalled countless determined faces charging towards ancient giants fearlessly. Central Earth has too many such fearless figures, known and unknown alike all the same. A cold chill surged within him, this time Central Earth's counteroffensive against the heavenly realm. Can the heavenly realm withstand it? Yunhe Sage scoffed indifferently. "That's because you are incompetent. If you were useful at all, wouldn't you be like us, becoming guests of the ancient giants?" Ling Xuzi glared with killing intent at Yunhe Sage in soul state. 10 sins of Central Earth, traitors of our Central Earth. A millennium ago, your betrayal caused our failure. You deserve death even more than giants. Yunhe Sage squinted. A cold soul light shot into Ling Xuzi's body. SSS, Ling Xuzi gasped in pain, yet he showed no fear, instead laughing up at the sky. "Why, Yunhe Li Xian, are you afraid? Central Earth won this battle, heard they're still counterattacking the heavenly realm. You traitors back then must be the most terrified because you're about to be reckoned with." Yunhe Li Xian's face darkened. "Counterattacking the heavenly realm, whoever comes will meet their demise. Do you think the heavenly realm only has the power on surface?" He lost his patience, snorted. "Netherworld King, why bother with this? Such a person will never submit to us like Jiang Yishan. Throw him into the blood pool, let him become a 5-star giant king to torment his own people. HMPH, this will be the best punishment for him." The Netherworld King said no more, glanced at Ling Xuzi, then kicked him into the blood pool. Jiang Fan, watching the sky observation treasure from the valley, tightened his fists. He could only see them conversing, but couldn't hear their voices. Seeing Ling Ziuzi kicked towards the blood pool, he remained calm. With two giant emperors present, what could he do even if he rushed over? Better to hold back temporarily and seize a chance to reverse this unnamed great venerate later. However, what neither Jiang Fan nor the on-site Yunhe sage and Netherworld king expected was, as Ling Ziuzi fell into the blood pool, a satisfied smile appeared on his lips, as if his plan succeeded. Splash. As he plunged in, instead of transforming into the usual 30 Zhang 5-star giant king. On the contrary, the blood pool erupted with intense explosions. Soaring blood-red water jets up to 100 Zhang tall. The blood in the pool suddenly coagulated into a twisted human form, emitting anguished howls. Within was the release of 10 milky white crystals, shining fiercely with holy light. Yunhe Sei shouted indignantly. This old fellow concealed 4 saint crystals within him. He deliberately exposed himself to be captured, just to make us throw him into the blood pool. The Netherworld King's expression changed dramatically. No wonder the giant emperors couldn't catch him, yet he was conveniently caught by them. He planned to be caught. If Ling Ziuzi approached the blood pool alone, the overwhelming negative emotions would expose him before reaching the pool, alerting the 2 giant emperors. Only by using their hands to get to the pool would the giant emperors not suspect anything. Within the human-shaped blood water, Ling Ziuzi's laughter echoed. Ha ha ha. Ancient giants, here's my final gift to you. He used his life to clear a tremendous threat for Central Earth. And what he did, no one will ever know. He sought not to be immortalized, nor any benefit, only silently doing something for Central Earth's present era. Boom, with his words, the saint crystals exploded with unprecedented holy light. The twisted, human-shaped blood water emitted a piercing scream, and then instantly burst into milky liquid. The horrifying negative emotions transformed into a blood-red shock wave, sweeping through the surroundings, plunging the world into chaos. The 2 giant emperors' eyes widened, instantly using instantaneous movement to rebound to the pool's bank, attempting to save the blood pool. Yunhe Li Xian and the Netherworld King were also battered by the shock. The distant valley was engulfed by terrifying negative emotions. The transformed giant kings roared viciously. Suddenly, chaos reigned everywhere. Jiang Fan watched the scene before him in shock. The Elder destroyed the blood pool with his own body. Yet he didn't even know the Elder's name. A long-lost shock stirred deep in his soul. Apparently, not just the human clan of Central Earth were striving against the ancient giants. There were also some admirable predecessors, fighting silently for Central Earth in corners unseen. He suppressed his emotions and felt the chaos between heaven and earth, realizing that now was the best opportunity to seize the angels. He immediately took out Butterfly Fairy's scale powder and scattered it. Below the 4-star Giant King, touching it for a moment would cause immediate fainting. The 2 5-star Giant Kings staggered, constantly roaring from their mouths. Jiang Fan's expression turned stern. The rest of the Giant Kings were silent, leaving only 2 making noise continuously, which was easy to spot as unusual. Soul-capturing lock! He decisively trapped the soul of 1 5-star Giant King, rushing up and tangling the opponent's finger with a dog chain. With a thud, the 5-star Giant King immediately collapsed to the ground. However, a sudden gust of foul wind came from above its head. Clearly another 5-star Giant King spotted him and instinctively attacked. If this turned into a battle, it would be strange if those 2 giant emperors remained unaware. At this critical moment, a mostly broken soul body emerged, Ling Ziuzi holding half a piece of polished saint crystal. Upon seeing the giant kings lying all over and poison-bodied Jiang Fan, he paused slightly. He quickly reacted, tossing the saint crystal onto the 5-star Giant King. With a loud bang, the 5-star Giant King's skin softened, revealing a 5-chi angel lord-level male angel inside. Jiang Fan showed a joyful expression, saying, "Senior, you're still alive." It seems Ling Ziuzi protected his soul, avoiding death in the blood pool. He intended to destroy the blood pool first, then liberate the Giant Kings here, eliminating the crisis for Central Earth. He didn't expect someone else to have the same intentions regarding the Giant Kings. "Who are you?" Ling Ziuzi asked vigilantly. "Those who can operate in the heavenly realm are entirely human traitors." Jiang Fan quickly released his physical form, restoring his soul, and said, "It's me, Senior, do you still remember me? Lin Lang." Before he finished, Ling Ziuzi exclaimed in surprise, "Jiang Fan, how is it you?" Jiang Fan was puzzled. This old senior surprisingly remembered him. Back when they met, Jiang Fan was merely in the core formation realm. Jiang Fan said, "This is not the place to talk. I'll take you away from the heavenly realm and discuss." He took out a previously prepared bag and collected the giant king and angel leader into it. Then he drew out the evil sword, spitting out a mouthful of void flow thunder fire, filling the sword body. He then fiercely slashed towards the space ahead. However, to Jiang Fan's surprise, this slash couldn't unfold the void. Strange, the power to melt world barriers should be sufficient just by integrating void flow thunder fire, and combined with the evil sword shouldn't be difficult to unleash. He had opened it during previous battles with the young emperor. Ling Xuzi immediately saw something amiss and said, "The world barrier here has been individually strengthened. Not good, hurry up and leave. The movement from your slash must have been detected by someone." "What?" Jiang Fan's brow abruptly twitched. He dared not hesitate for a moment, quickly grasping Ling Xuzi's soul body to swiftly escape. And the direction was right towards the medicine garden. The reason for returning to the medicine garden was so he could continue attempting to break the space along the way. If unsuccessful, he'd revert to his poison body identity, pretending to still be restoring his memory, so as not to be without a retreat. Shortly after they had left, bang bang, the two giant emperors arrived with the Netherworld King and Yunhe Li Xian. Viewing the empty canyon, all four faces changed drastically. Netherworld King. This was one of our concealed powers. Who did this? Yunhe Li Xian squinted his eyes, then said grimly, "There's the soul aura of that old thing. His soul escaped here and seized the giant kings. Outrageous. Should have destroyed his form and spirit just now." He was furious, hopping mad. The blood pool was ruined. 100 giant kings used as a trump card were gone. That nearly dying old thing had caused them such trouble. He scanned the surroundings full of resentment, quickly locking onto the remnants of a soul aura. "Over there, chase quickly." The two giant emperors emitted a savage roar, immediately pursuing. Jiang Fan carried Ling Xuzi in a frenzied escape. Thanks to his physique achieving the heavenly person 4 declines, his speed increased quite a bit. However, upon sensing the increasingly intensified earth tremors, he understood the giant emperors were catching up. Somehow their direction was locked onto. If it were in the void, he could easily escape with the void feather robe, but within the world, how could he outrun a giant emperor? He slashed the world before him again, yet it remained unbreakable. Meanwhile, the Earth's movement grew increasingly violent. Ling Xuzi looked back, then down at his broken soul body, understanding. After a moment of silence, he sat upon Jiang Fan's shoulder and said, "Boy, you did well in the ancient wilderness hunting ground. Even our master praised you highly. He never lightly praises anyone." Jiang Fan was taken aback. Ling Xuzi had been to the ancient wilderness hunting ground and even knew of his performance. Yet, his series of actions there at the ancient wilderness hunting ground, the master surely praised him and not scolded him. In this urgent moment, he didn't think much, casually nodding. It was flattering, just luck. Ling Xuzi gazed at Jiang Fan's profile with a silent smile. Luck, huh? That maneuver which severely troubled the 100 Realms elite wasn't merely luck. He smiled, saying, "Initially, I didn't think highly of you, didn't expect you'd take first place. A history-making first achieved by oneself. It brings me joy, for Central Earth can once more birth someone like you post-era of extreme prosperity." Jiang Fan said, "In this era's Central Earth, there are many more formidable individuals than me. You'll see once you return." Ling Xuzi's eyes showed yearning as he said, "I dearly wish to know how many strongmen have emerged in today's Central Earth." A fading Central Earth astonishingly defeated the ancient giants. I was in disbelief upon receiving the news in the heavenly realm. After a pause, he continued, "By the way, the rumor of Central Earth's counterattack in the heavenly realm, is it true?" Jiang Fan nodded, eyes gleaming with battle spirit. "Absolutely. If all goes well, it will happen in a few days. In this battle, we aim to utterly annihilate the southern heavenly realm's ancient giants, ensuring generations of untold peace for Central Earth, so that our descendants will never again become prey for the ancient giants." Ling Xuzi's body suddenly trembled, eyes brimming with tears. He wiped his tears, revealing an old smile. "Good, truly good. An achievement unthinkable in the era of extreme prosperity, fulfilled by your generation. I have no regrets." He stood up and took an empty bag from Jiang Fan's waist from afar, then leapt away from Jiang Fan. "Senior," Jiang Fan called softly, "what are you doing? Hurry up, otherwise it will be too late." Ling Xuzi smiled faintly, saying, "They are here for me, carrying me will only drag you down." Jiang Fan was about to speak, but was interrupted by Ling Xiuzi's gesture. This is our second meeting and also the last. On behalf of Central Earth, on behalf of people from my era, I say thank you. With you, Central Earth is fortunate. I hope you will continue to lead the present Central Earth, defeat the ancient giants, and usher in eternal peace there. Ling Xiuzi took out a complete holy crystal and threw it to Jiang Fan from afar. I have been in the ancient wilderness hunting ground for 1,000 years and haven't saved up much, just a few holy crystals. This last one, I'll give it to you. I hope you can make good use of it. With that, Ling Xiuzi flew backwards in another direction, his eyes filled with expectation. Kid, when the day comes to destroy the heavenly realm, remember to light some incense and tell me. I will spread the word underground, telling the martyrs of Central Earth from every generation that they can rest in peace. Today's Central Earth no longer needs their concern. Jiang Fan's eyes reddened, tears glittering as he nodded heavily, choked. All right, Ling Xiuzi smiled as he flew away, and just before disappearing from sight, he added, by the way, I have already thrown some important intelligence into Central Earth. Find it, I hope it helps you in your counterattack on Central Earth. Farewell, the pride of Central Earth, Jiang Fan. Only then did Jiang Fan realize that he didn't even know his name and shouted, Senior, what is your name? Ling Xiuzi just laughed as he went further away. Ha ha ha, it's not important. Just an old man deeply in love with Central Earth. His figure faded into a black dot at the horizon. The rapidly approaching tremors also receded as he went further away. He would never return. Jiang Fan held the bag containing 100 giant kings in his hand, and 2 tears fell on the bag, creating 2 round, damp spots. Not long after, on a mountain peak, Ling Xiuzi sat cross-legged while the heavens and earth trembled around him. 2 giant emperors, as if golden suns, bounded across the earth towards him. Yunhe Lixian's eyes were filled with a murderous aura. Old man, hand over the giant kings and I'll spare your life. Otherwise, you'll surely die. Ling Xiuzi wore a relieved smile, holding the bag in his arms. He crushed it in front of them. Bam, the bag shattered, turning into a powder spray, and the contents were all pulverized into void fragments. You're courting death, Yunhe Lixian roared furiously, instantly shooting hundreds of soul needles from his soul. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Ling Xiuzi's remnant soul was pierced through like a sieve, his body fragmented like a shattered porcelain with pieces of soul light falling. With a smile, he looked at the furious Yunhe Lixian, his smile growing even brighter. Yunhe Lixian and the other traitors, too. I'll wait for you all underground. Ha-ha-ha-ha, ha-ha-ha-ha. Amidst laughter, his soul turned into specks of light drifting with the wind into the distance. Like a cluster of hope-filled dandelions, they floated to the far-off lands, sprouting and bringing forth a light of spring wherever they landed. The Netherworld King murmured, A worthy adversary. Yunhe Lixian's face darkened with hatred, then his communication jade pendant buzzed. Picking it up, he said, The Central Tribe informs you to return. Princess Zaijiang has awakened. What? In the gigantic upright eye of the Netherworld King, a hint of joy emerged. She has finally awoken. She has been in Central Earth for so long and knows some intelligence about Central Earth. Let's go, take me back. Suddenly, the Netherworld King remembered something and said, Wait, let's first visit Yunhe's medicine garden. Almost forgot about Jiang Yishan. If left there, Yunhe, that old knave, would surely kill him without hesitation. In the distance, Jiang Fan put away the sky observation treasure, the scene of Yunhe Lixian killing Ling Xiuzi replaying in his mind. Murderous intent surged in his eyes. Yunhe Lixian! Someday you'll be the first I kill. Subduing his inner emotions, Jiang Fan put away the sky observation treasure and switched back to the poisoned body. Then he actively approached their direction. The spirit grass in the medicine garden had already been entirely harvested by him. How could he let them go to the garden? As for the void, he dared not attempt anything recklessly. With Ling Xiuzi already fallen, if anyone else tried to cut open the nearby void, his suspicion would be too great. Thus, several thousand miles away from the medicine garden, Jiang Fan coincidentally met up with the Netherworld King. Brother Jiang, what are you doing here? The Netherworld King exclaimed in surprise. Jiang Fan's eyes still seemed confused, but his memory seemed to have somewhat returned as he said, Brother Jiang. So my name is Jiang Yishan. Where is this place? Who are you? The Netherworld King laughed heartily. I was right. His memory has hope of returning. He even remembers who he is now. Yunhe Lixian's old face darkened. Squinting his eyes, he asked, Do you remember being a soul master? Jiang Fan said blankly. Soul master? What's that? Yunhe Lixian's sullen face eased slightly. Not even knowing what a soul master is, Jiang Yishan's full recovery would need a long time. Yet he was ultimately still a threat. If the chance arises, he must be eliminated. The Netherworld King shot a glance at Yun He Li Xian, determined not to give him another chance to harm Jiang Yishan. He immediately brought him into his palm, saying, "Brother Jiang, I'll take you back to the central tribe. The female giant king you saved has awakened. She, like me, is different from the ancient giants, and she will be grateful to you." What? Jiang Fan's heart hung in the balance. Princess Zaijiang was an astute and highly perceptive woman. Among the women he knew, she was second only to Spirit Sound and Red Sleeves. Others might be fooled into thinking Jiang Fan was dead, but not this woman. Moreover, the disappearance of the giant kings, Princess Zaijiang might also deduce some discrepancies. This wasn't good. If he didn't find a way to cut open the void soon, he might not be able to leave the southern heavenly realm. "Jiang Yishan, talking to you?" Yun He Li Xian said. Jiang Fan still feigned confusion. "Who is Princess Zaijiang?" A hint of relaxation flashed in Yun He Li Xian's eyes. It turned out he was testing Jiang Fan's reaction to see if he indeed only recalled part of his memory. Now it seemed indeed still somewhat a fool. This way there was hope of killing him. The Netherworld King helplessly said, "I'll explain back at the central tribe. Let's go." The two giant emperors immediately used instantaneous movement to take them away. Before long, they returned to the central tribe's royal court. From the air, Jiang Fan could clearly see the layout of the central tribe's royal court. Like the Black Sun royal court, it was surrounded by scattered tents, with the center being a city enclosed by walls of white bone. As they drew closer to the royal court, Jiang Fan's heart grew anxious. He vaguely understood that the nearby space barrier's resistance was likely due to the proximity of the central tribe's royal court, blood pool, and medicine garden. However, the last time the central tribe's emperor brought him into the southern heavenly realm, he casually sliced open the void. This indicated that not all spaces are solid. There should be a few hidden weak spaces that can be sliced through. The creatures long residing in the central tribe must have seen the giant emperors come and go, familiar with this. But who should he ask? He couldn't possibly ask Yun He Xian and the Netherworld King, right? Wait a minute. He suddenly remembered that the Netherworld King had given him 10 beautiful female Asuras. As Asuras attached to the giants, who have long been in the royal court, they should have witnessed it to some extent. It must be said, the Netherworld King was Jiang Yishan's most loyal brother in the southern heavenly realm. Knowing this, Jiang Fan calmly returned with them to the royal court. The Netherworld King first sent Jiang Fan back to the White Bone Cave Mansion. Looking at the 10 beautiful female Asuras rejected outside the cave mansion, he sighed. It seems Brother Jiang is also focused on the martial path, uninterested in women. He doesn't want a single beautiful female Asura from the royal court. You all should go about your business. My brother Jiang isn't interested in this. Jiang Fan hurriedly said, how can this be? He still needed to extract information from these female Asuras. His eyes gleamed secretly as he grasped one female Asura's arm and pulled her into his embrace, saying, dumbfounded, "The beauty smells so good. Let me smell it." After speaking, he took a deep breath at her neck. This top-level skill left the Netherworld King stunned. He couldn't help but laugh, not someone who's rolled among women. Can't be this skilled. Indeed, where is there a man who isn't lecherous? Go ahead, you all take turns taking good care of Brother Jiang, understand? The female Asura's eyes sparkled with joy, clustering around Jiang Fan and entering the cave mansion. Yun He Li Xian stared at Jiang Fan, his eyes filled with malice, still unwilling to give up on how to kill Jiang Fan. "Sage Yun He, come with me to see the Central Emperor." The Netherworld King narrowed his eyes and said, this old thing's killing intent towards Jiang Yishan was already undisguised. The two headed together to the central hall of the royal court. Inside the hundreds of feet high white bone hall, blood energy was pervasive. The air inside the hall seemed oppressed by something, lifeless. The one sitting on the throne of the hall was naturally the Central Emperor. On the left side were 9 restrained sages from Central Earth. On the right side were 6 giant emperors. An 8-foot-tall giant king with purple skin sat on the stone stool in the center of the hall, eyes somewhat dazed. As though they had slept too long and their mind wasn't clear. This was Princess Zaijiang. Seeing the Netherworld King enter, Princess Zaijiang's eyes regained some light, saying, "Netherworld King." "Zaijiang." The two met eyes, both showing emotions typical for a long-awaited reunion, emotions that don't exist between giants. The Central Emperor remained in a high position, voice indifferent. Jiang, the Netherworld King has arrived too. Speak of your experiences in Central Earth. The Netherworld King's arrival gave Princess Jiang some sense of security. She nodded and said, I've long stayed beside Jiang Fan, though I couldn't see, I could hear some information. In the past month, Central Earth has done 3 things related to us ancient giants. First, wiped out Heavenly Heritage City. Upon hearing this, the Central Emperor and 6 giant emperors showed regret. The Central Emperor sighed, what a pity those half-giants were loyally devoted to us with potential to become one of us. But alas, they were reckoned with by Central Earth sages. Princess Jiang shook her head, said, not Central Earth sages, it was Jiang Fan. He led Taikang State's experts, traversed our heavenly realm, divine weapon descended from heaven to arrive independently at returning ruins state, and cleared Heavenly Heritage City. The Central Emperor sat up straight, speaking in a deep voice. It was him. The giant emperors and Li Xian's all showed a bit of hatred. Qingshan Liuxian's eyes gleamed. Without sage assistance, could they have wiped out Heavenly Heritage City? Didn't the compassionate sage who hoped to join us southern heavenly realm take action? Princess Jiang sighed deeply. He too was killed by Jiang Fan. Jiang Fan thoroughly researched the summoning a boundary master's avatar technique in the Hell Realm, summoning a Hell Realm master's avatar, and killed the compassionate sage. All felt a hint of dread, especially the 10 sins of Central Earth. That small martial artist in the divinity transformation realm actually possessed the power to kill a sage. How long has it been? Princess Jiang continued. Second thing, Central Earth is preparing to counterattack the heavenly realm. Everyone's expression remained unchanged. They had already grasped this news. But the next sentence from Princess Jiang changed their expressions. Princess Jiang said, this great battle was initiated and organized by Jiang Fan, and he is actively pushing it forward. Bang. A giant emperor slapped the stone table and stood up. Again Jiang Fan, the Li Xians were also furious. This little beast, he insists on opposing our heavenly realm no matter what. The Central Emperor's gaze was icy. Now reviewing the great battle, our greatest mistake was not killing him in advance. Without him, Central Earth would already be fully occupied by us. Everyone sighed one after another, calming their emotions after a long time, and listened as Princess Jiang continued. Third thing, Central Earth and Hell Realm went to war, involving saint-level plans, but the beginning of the war also started with Jiang Fan. After talking about these 3 things, Princess Jiang clenched her fists, eyes cold. Every historical direction of Central Earth is led by Jiang Fan. If he's not eliminated, Southern Heavenly Realm will be worse than the Hell Realm. Interestingly, this time everyone remained unusually calm. Princess Jiang asked surprised, aren't you planning to take action? Sending someone to assassinate Jiang Fan in the lower realm, it's not too late. I dread to think, during the counterattack against the Heavenly Realm, what major regrets he'll cause us. The Netherworld King softly said, Jiang Fan is already dead. With a swish, Princess Jiang stood up from the stone stool, her giant vertical eyes boldly round, unable to believe her ears. Jiang Fan, dead, the Netherworld King. Absolutely true, I saw his corpse. Princess Jiang slumped back onto the stone stool, eyes gazing blankly at the ground, previously filled with hatred, wishing Jiang Fan dead immediately. But now that he was actually dead, she felt inexplicably saddened. A formidable opponent who once made her feel suffocated by strength, dazzling enough to make her feel inadequate more than once, died so suddenly. A deep sense of loss welled up in her heart. She was still looking forward to starting over to compete once again with Jiang Fan, but there was no longer such an opportunity. How did he die? Princess Jiang asked with her head down, feeling deeply blocked. The Netherworld King sighed inwardly. When you're strong enough, when your charisma is enough, even enemies become your loyal followers. He also felt deep regret and said, Jiang Fan died at the hands of a human named Jiang Yishan. Princess Jiang's heart ached deeply and she asked, was the other one a powerful sage? In her heart, only a sage-level existence could be capable of killing Jiang Fan. The Netherworld King said, no, he was a great venerate from the poisonous world. Princess Jiang lifted her head. Great venerate? Impossible. How could he die at the hands of a great venerate? The dazzling elite peer she viewed as her generation's strongest enemy, how could he die so hastily? He was Jiang Fan. How could a man withstand countless storms fall to a nameless great venerate? The Netherworld King briefly narrated the events. Initially, upon hearing 9 Nether Demon Venerable capture Jiang Yishan, she squinted, faintly sensing something off. If Jiang Yishan had killed Jiang Fan, would he shout it worldwide, attracting 9 nether demon venerables' personal capture? Furthermore, when hearing the sages from Central Earth, all seething with righteous indignation towards Jiang Yishan, the suspicions grew. Central Earth valued Jiang Fan so much. Yet after his death, only 9 nether demon venerable tried to capture the murderer, and other sages ran off to South Heavenly Realm to raid. It made no sense. Lastly, upon hearing chaotic ancient blood Marquis traverse the void to kill the Netherworld King, her eyes suddenly widened, abruptly standing up, shouting, "You all were fooled! He's not dead." In other areas, she might only be guessing, but the chaotic ancient blood Marquis' pursuit, Jiang Fan absolutely wouldn't be wrong about that. The Netherworld King said, "Zhejiang, I told you I saw his corpse." Princess Zhejiang laughed. "Is the corpse still around now?" The Netherworld King hesitated for a moment and said, "It was taken by the sleeping emperor." "And where is the sleeping emperor? He should be hiding somewhere, finishing digesting the treasures on Jiang Fan's body, right?" "Should be." "Ha ha ha ha." Princess Zhejiang shook her head, smiling, and said, "The sleeping emperor won't be coming back. He's already died at Jiang Fan's hands." "What?" The Central Emperor showed a look of shock. "You're certain?" After the sneak attack in Central Earth, Sejun, he had already lost his physical body. The Heavenly Realm had lost a Sage Realm combatant. If they lost another giant emperor, the loss would be far too devastating. Princess Zhejiang clasped her hands behind her back, certainty filling the giant vertical eye on her forehead. "Don't doubt it, he's definitely dead," the Central Emperor said. "This matter is no small thing. Don't make such absolute statements without evidence." King Yun Liuxian said in a deep voice, "The giant emperor possesses an almost indestructible body. Even if Jiang Fan were still alive, he couldn't kill him," Princess Zhejiang said. "You people understand Jiang Fan far too little. An ordinary divinity transformation realm can't kill a giant emperor. But he absolutely can because he has a complete angel blade. Killing a giant emperor would be a breeze." "What?" Only then did the Central Emperor's expression turn truly grave, even his voice grew gloomy. "You're sure Jiang Fan isn't dead?" "I'm certain." Princess Zhejiang looked toward the Netherworld King and continued, "Remember that spear strike from the chaotic ancient blood Marquis?" The Netherworld King said, "Of course I remember. The target was me. It almost dragged Jiang Yishan down with me." Princess Zhejiang shook her head. "That blow wasn't about killing you, it was meant to kill Jiang Yishan. More precisely, to kill Jiang Fan, who had transformed into Jiang Yishan. Because on Jiang Fan's forehead, there was a brand left by the chaotic ancient blood Marquis." Bang, bang. At that last sentence, the giant emperor and the inferior sages all sprang to their feet. Even Kingshan Liuxian's eyes burst with sharp light. Before the chaotic ancient blood Marquis kills a predetermined target, he indeed leaves a death brand on that person. In that case, his sudden appearance over the heavenly realm and his strike at the Netherworld King make perfect sense. Everyone simultaneously turned to look at the Netherworld King. The Netherworld King had recruited Jiang Yishan, taken the blame for him, and even withstood a blood spear strike. In the end, Jiang Yishan turned out to be the Jiang Fan he most wanted to kill. Ha ha. Ha ha ha. The Netherworld King's shoulders shook. He laughed, laughter born of extreme fury. Especially when he thought of how he'd taken that blood spear strike for Jiang Fan, felt full of guilt toward him, and even specially compensated him. He laughed so hard his whole body trembled. Ha 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 ha. Jiang Fan, ha 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 ha. My good brother, you really worked me over." The Netherworld King suddenly let out a roar. His golden pupils turned blood-red like a crimson moon, and a chilling, killing intent erupted all over his body. "None of you move. I'm going to kill him with my own hands." Boom. Roaring, his massive body leaped forward, springing toward Jiang Yishan's cave abode. No, toward Jiang Fan's cave abode. Staring at the tightly shut stone gate, he kicked it to pieces and shouted, "Jiang Fan, come die." However, there was no one inside the stone gate. Even the 10 beautiful female Usura were nowhere to be seen. "Where is he?" The furious Netherworld King snapped his gaze around and discovered that not far above the royal court, Jiang Yishan had an arm around a female Usura, with another 7 or 8 clustered around him. They were laughing and chatting as they flew into the distance. With a single glance, he recognized where Jiang Yishan was headed. It was the only nearby weak point in space, which a one Calamity Realm expert could slice open. HMPH, trying to run. The Netherworld King immediately realized Jiang Yishan's intent. With a tap of his toes, his body shot out as if by instantaneous movement. The laughing, chatting Asura women were instantly scared into scattering in all directions. The Netherworld King instantaneously moved to the front of Jiang Yishan, his terrifying fist wind smashing fiercely toward him. He had thought Jiang Yishan would dodge, but the latter's face went slack with dullness, letting the punch land squarely on his body. With a muffled puff, his body was smashed open on the spot. Toxic blood spurted wildly, and his eyes dimmed to lifelessness. The No One Shadow Guard mask on his face also fell off, revealing Jiang Fan's real face. It really is Jiang Fan? The Netherworld King's rage-twisted face was full of shock, but sensing that Jiang Fan's life had vanished, he looked at his own fist in puzzlement. He died that easily? Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The giant emperor and the inferior sages all flashed over as well. Seeing Jiang Fan's true face on Jiang Yishan's features, they all showed looks of surprise. Yunhe Lixian laughed in anger. I was wondering why Jiang Yishan was so displeasing to this old man, so he was that little beast Jiang Fan all along. Well killed, well killed. Ha 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 ha. The Central Emperor stared at Jiang Fan's face, his expression dark. So it really was him? And we actually let him slip into the heavenly realm right under our noses, outrageous. Yunhe Lixian stroked his beard and said, We have to thank Princess Zhejiang for promptly yanking him out, or we'd still be in the dark. Fortunately, this time he's truly dead. However, Princess Zhejiang was staring at Jiang Fan's poisoned body, shaking her head slightly. Someone who can be killed this easily absolutely can't be Jiang Fan. At least not his true body. Her gaze swept around them, but aside from themselves in the sky, there were only a few panicked Asura women fleeing in all directions. Princess Zhejiang hadn't paid them much attention at first. But when she noticed two of the Asura women running toward the nearby weak point in space, her heart jolted. Those two Asura women are suspicious, Princess Zhejiang immediately warned. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Everyone's eyes instantly turned in that direction, and they immediately realized the pair's behavior was strange. Yunhe Lixian's eyes flashed with sharp light as he stared at the female Asura on the right, the one in a purple long dress, and cried out, She has a problem. There are traces of an illusion technique on her. Stop her. The Central Emperor's pupils contracted slightly, and he struck out without hesitation. But Qingshan Liuxian moved first. Narrowing his eyes, he sneered, Heh, let me handle this. As a man of his homeland, I'm sure he'd rather this virtuous one see him off on his journey. The moonlight sword he used as a walking stick suddenly slashed forth. 1,000 Jiang sword light cleaved into the purple-clad Asura woman. With a miserable groan, she turned into a mist of blood. From the blood mist, a multicolored longsword slowly emerged. It was none other than the 1,000 Illusion Sword. The sleeping emperor's 1,000 Illusion Sword. The Central Emperor grabbed the 1,000 Illusion Sword across the air with one hand, his face dark. The sleeping emperor has truly fallen. Jiang Fan, your death wouldn't even begin to pay for this. The giant emperor and the inferior sages were all alarmed as well. Not even during the ancient giants' great war had a single giant emperor fallen. Yet in this time of peace, one had actually been killed by Jiang Fan. Yunhe Lixian said discontentedly, King Yun, that sword of yours made it far too easy for him. That little beast should have been chopped into 8 pieces. While everyone was noisily lamenting the sleeping emperor's fall, only Princess Zhejiang narrowed her eyes. She still held to her earlier judgment. Someone who could be killed so easily would not be Jiang Fan. Just then, she suddenly noticed that Qingshan Liuxian's earlier strike hadn't only killed the purple-clad Asura woman. It had also, unintentionally, opened a thin, long spatial rift. And the other female Asura who had gone to the weak point in space along with the purple-clad one was flying toward the rift, a sack clutched in her hand. Jiang constricted sharply, understanding instantly. The poisoned body and the female Asura in purple clothing were all Jiang Fan's blinding techniques. He had not intended to cut open a space rift by himself because the commotion would be too great, and he'd be intercepted by the giant emperor as soon as he made a move. Therefore, he had been guiding the giants to attack that space. The result was precisely within his meticulous plan. Moreover, no one noticed that the ignored female Asura was the true key to Jiang Fan's escape. That's the real Jiang Fan, Princess Zhejiang shouted urgently. Quick, block the void rift. Everyone looked in the direction of the voice, finally noticing the peculiar actions of another female Asura, their expressions changing drastically. The Central Emperor roared, Stop! He raised his palm, about to annihilate that female Asura. Inside the pocket, Jiang Fan had been closely monitoring the developments outside. Holding the Netherworld Eye, the world artifact of the Dark Shura clan in one hand, He controlled the female Asura's movements, while tightly gripping the evil sword in the other. Noticing the Central Emperor's movement, he immediately issued a command. Throw! The female Asura forcefully hurled the pocket toward the void rift. The faces of the Central Emperor and others changed drastically as they instantaneously moved toward the void rift. At this moment, the pocket had already reached the edge of the rift, and in the blink of an eye, it would be swept outside. Once in the void with the void feather robe, unless the 9-day giant emperor personally pursued him, no one could catch up with Jiang Fan. Jiang Fan's heart pounded wildly. He had first used the ancient heart mirror to read the inner thoughts of several female Asuras, confirming the location of the weak point in space. Subsequently, he sacrificed the poisoned body, risked losing the 1,000 illusion sword, used the Asura woman in purple to divert their attention, and used their hands to open the void rift. Every step allowed no room for error. Now it had finally come to the last step. Whether he could escape depended on this moment. Boom, boom. The giant emperor and inferior sages instantaneously moved to the front of the void, their terrifying aura causing the void rift to tremble violently. The Central Emperor roared in anger. The heavenly realm is not a place you can leave at will. The 7 suns on his forehead simultaneously erupted with terrifying curse power. The other giant emperors and inferior sages seamlessly took action, sealing the void rift. The already contracting void rift rapidly closed, like closing eyes. In the blink of an eye, it became as thin as a hair. Not even a pocket or a bee could squeeze through. The heart of the hurriedly arriving Princess Zaijiang, which had been racing, finally steadied. Clenching her teeth, she said, Jiang Fan, let's see where you run. Jiang Fan's face changed drastically. Despite using all his means, escaping right under the noses of so many giant emperors and inferior sages was still unrealistic. Luckily, he still had a final trick. In the instant the curse power approached, Jiang Fan burst out of the pocket. A space-time hourglass appeared above his head, with only a quarter of the sand remaining, rapidly falling. Tenfold time acceleration activated. Everything around slowed down tenfold. The approaching curse power, the closing void rift, all were incredibly slow. Only Princess Zaijiang, possessing the time origin, was unaffected, her face transitioning from a smiling expression to one full of shock. Time acceleration law. What shocked her even more was that Jiang Fan subsequently activated another origin. Origin of form. His body, along with his clothes and magic artifacts, shrunk rapidly under the influence of the origin. In the blink of an eye, he became the size of a fly, then charged towards the void rift. Princess Zaijiang's face changed dramatically, screaming frantically, Jiang Fan, you are not allowed to leave. Jiang Fan glanced back at her. Thank you for seeing me off, Princess Zaijiang. Bang. When Princess Zaijiang flew over, ready to slap down, Jiang Fan had already squeezed through the void rift. No, Princess Zaijiang's roar was filled with unwillingness. This was the closest she had come to capturing Jiang Fan since they began interacting. But she could only watch as Jiang Fan escaped right in front of her. She was only a breath away, only a breath away. Boom, crack. The Central Emperor's curse power arrived right behind, and the giant emperors and inferior sages successfully closed the void. However, Jiang Fan's figure was no longer there. Only the residual power of the time law remained. What? He escaped! The Central Emperor's golden pupils widened in disbelief, his fury boiling over. All the giant emperors and sages of the southern heavenly realm couldn't detain a single divinity transformation realm from the central earth. Yun Heili Xian was hopping mad. Even this allowed him to escape. The Netherworld King was even more stunned. Jiang Fan, the greatest enemy of the heavenly realm, wandered around in the central tribe of our heavenly realm and left unscathed. Heh, he laughed maniacally. What broke them even more was hearing Jiang Fan's voice from the void. Thank you, everyone in the southern heavenly realm, for seeing me off. I bid farewell. Fuck, this was blatant humiliation. The Central Emperor slammed open the void and saw Jiang Fan, clad in the void feather robe, looking at them with a mocking smile. You're courting death! Without any further words, the Central Emperor, the other giant emperors, and sages all charged out of the southern heavenly realm. Everyone was filled with immense killing intent. Even the Netherworld King laughed maniacally as he joined the chase. Princess Zaijiang, too, came out, her face full of unwillingness. Jiang Fan! Jiang Fan! Princess Zaijiang screamed and roared in frustration. With a laugh, Jiang Fan's hand, which was behind his back, suddenly loosened, revealing a void fishing rod in his palm. In the southern heavenly realm, the void fishing rod might not have been enough against the giant emperors, but here in the void. With a flick of the long rod, the hook instantly teleported into the central emperor's hand, hooking onto the 1,000 illusion sword. The central emperor's expression changed. He didn't expect the fishing rod to be able to teleport in the void, and despite his grasp, he was a step too slow. The 1,000 illusion sword was teleported back into Jiang Fan's hand. "Thank you for sending the sword back," Jiang Fan chuckled, then cast the rod again. The hook entered the void, embedding into the unnoticed poison body within the southern heavenly realm. This was something he had painstakingly crafted and couldn't let it fall into the southern heavenly realm. In a whiz, the poisoned body returned as well. There remained one last cast. Jiang Fan smiled, his gaze shifting to Princess Zaijiang. Princess Zaijiang's heart suddenly stopped. She realized the trouble when Jiang Fan brought out the void fishing rod. Seeing that this fishing rod could still retrieve objects through the void, she had a bad feeling. Knowing Jiang Fan was eyeing her, it wasn't hard to guess what he intended with his third cast. "Father Emperor, save me!" Princess Zaijiang called out urgently. She should have realized earlier that given Jiang Fan's cautious nature, if he had escaped the southern heavenly realm, it was impossible for him to taunt them outside. His risky behavior undoubtedly had a purpose. But it was too late for realization now. The central emperor's face shifted dramatically, shouting in fury, "How dare you, rascal!" Jiang Fan ignored him, swiftly retreating while casting the rod towards Princess Zaijiang. Without any suspense, Princess Zaijiang was hooked by the golden fish hook. She sighed resignedly. "Ah, how many times has it been?" The next moment, she disappeared out of thin air. When she reappeared, she was in front of Jiang Fan, and waiting for her was a black divine wood. Bong, 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 bong. With several dull thuds, Princess Zaijiang fainted, her eyes rolling back. Without a word, Jiang Fan tucked her into his pocket. "You little brat!" The central emperor roared furiously, the 7 suns on his forehead releasing bright rays of light. The giant emperors also shouted angrily, and the inferior sages were full of murderous intent. Various curse powers and the power of laws swept crazily. Jiang Fan did not dare to be careless, activating the void feather robe to teleport away, disappearing without a trace in the blink of an eye. Only a cold voice remained echoing in the original place. "Southern heavenly realm, next time we meet, it will be the day of destroying the heavenly realm." The giant emperors chased for a while to no avail, eventually giving up. Their fierce faces were all replaced with frustration and anger. The inferior sages were also filled with humiliation. This time, Jiang Fan's trip to the heavenly realm felt like he was trampling on them. Yunhe Li Xian gritted his teeth. "That little brat used my heart-devouring soul grass to enhance his soul and slipped away right under my nose, you." "Wait a minute." Yunhe Li Xian suddenly froze. He ate so much heart-devouring soul grass. Why didn't he lose his memory? If he didn't lose memory, then he stayed in my medicine garden for so long. Not good. He felt apprehensive, urgently rushed back to the southern heavenly realm, and hurried towards the medicine garden. The inferior sages' expressions also changed. All their spirit pills were refined by Sage Yunhe, and the spiritual medicine used for refining all came from the medicine garden. That wasn't just Sage Yunhe's life, but theirs too. Qingshan Liuxian said, "Don't hurry, the medicine garden has the 3-layer array personally reinforced by us. It won't be so easily broken." Upon hearing this, the anxious Yunhe Li Xian was slightly relieved. True. Give that brat 10 years, he can't break it. Soon after, they arrived above the medicine garden, and upon looking at the island, all the inferior sages were stunned, speechless. The vast island was full of pits and holes. Other than that, there was nothing else. After a while, Yunhe Li Xian burst out with a squeal akin to slaughtering pigs. "Spiritual medicine, my spiritual medicine. Jiang Fan, that beast actually uprooted everything. He didn't leave a single blade of grass." Yunhe Li Xian collapsed, looking up and roaring angrily. "Jiang Fan, dare to set foot in the heavenly realm, I will make sure you never return." Outside Central Earth, Jiang Fan, wielding the evil sword, slashed through the barrier of the world and rushed in. Sensing the familiar atmosphere, a long-lost feeling surged in Jiang Fan's heart. It was merely 4 or 5 days, yet it felt like he had been away from home for a long time. Home is still the best. Jiang Fan descended quickly, noticing the great state below was the heavenly state he once departed from the void. His gaze sharpened, storing the void feather robe and heading towards Young Emperor Mountain. Could the young emperor have returned to Young Emperor Mountain? Thump! Not long after, he descended with a diving momentum onto young Emperor Mountain, suspended midair with the sun, moon, and stars as the backdrop. Upon approaching, the endless thunder power surged and roared. Jiang Fan felt a wave of comfort. Young Emperor Mountain was indeed the foremost thunder path force. With abundant thunder, it's simply a paradise for those cultivating thunder Tao divine power. His appearance prompted the divinity transformation experts of young Emperor Mountain to leave en masse, all confronting him as if facing a great enemy. Recalling Jiang Fan's invincible posture during the battle with the young emperor, they all looked terrified. Is Jiang Fan here to destroy young Emperor Mountain? Jiang Fan, with hands behind his back, surveyed the surroundings proudly and said, "Where is the young emperor?" The divinity transformation realm experts present panicked, not daring to respond. Tap tap, from the young emperor's cultivation hall, a string of footsteps echoed. Jiang Fan squinted, looking towards where a middle-aged man shrouded in lightning slowly emerged. It was Thunder Annihilation Sage, with one hand behind his back and another holding a sword densely covered with lightning, exuding the imposing presence of a top-grade spiritual artifact. Thunder Annihilation Sage looked complexly at Jiang Fan, raised his hand, and threw the thunder sword to Jiang Fan. "It's yours now." Jiang Fan caught it, puzzled. "Top-grade spirit sword." He wiped his fingers across the sword body, extinguishing the thunder, revealing the sword's appearance. It was a pale longsword with a rough exterior, forged from unknown material, its sword body continuously emanating thunder power. And on the sword hilt, 3 ancient and simple characters were engraved. "Thunder Lord Sword." Jiang Fan was astonished, one of Baeksuan's sword master's 9 swords. Before his death, only 3 swords among his 9 still existed in the world. One was the Tingsu sword, fallen on the continent, obtained by Jiang Fan. One was the Thousand Illusion sword, embedded in the sleeping giant emperor's body, now also obtained by Jiang Fan. The one remaining was the Thunder Lord sword, fallen on heavenly state, whereabouts unknown. Jiang Fan exclaimed, "The Thunder Lord sword has always been in your young Emperor Mountain?" Thunder Annihilation Sage shook his head. "Not exactly. It was prepared by the young emperor for you." "What?" Jiang Fan furrowed his brow. "What do you mean?" Thunder Annihilation Sage replied complexly. "It's literal. The young emperor knew you were searching for top-grade spirit swords in the world a month ago. He started having people search for the Thunder Lord sword. Before your decisive battle, it was found in the tomb of a divinity transformation realm expert. He instructed me, if you won, the sword goes to you. If you lost, the sword would accompany your burial. Now the Thunder Lord sword is yours, a month ago, around the time of the ancient giant battle victory. At that time, the young emperor began searching for a top-grade spirit sword for him. Why did he do that? Jiang Fan asked sternly. He recalled when he pierced the young emperor's chest with a sword. The young emperor smiled and said, "You are qualified." Now, the existence of this Thunder Lord sword implies the young emperor had long prepared for the battle on this day. The so-called qualified merely meant having the qualifications to possess the Thunder Lord sword. Also, Thunder Annihilation Sage snapped his fingers. Inside the hall, a throne made of 5-colored thunder appeared before Jiang Fan. This is thunder the young emperor has cultivated for a lifetime, although not as good as your 9-colored tribulation thunder. It's the strongest thunder power in Central Earth. This, too, he left for you? Jiang Fan gazed at the 5-colored throne, his eyes filled with confusion. What is the young emperor trying to do exactly? Finally, Thunder Annihilation Sage looked around young Emperor Mountain. The young emperor originally intended to give you young Emperor Mountain as well. However, he knew you dislike constraints. Therefore, I will temporarily manage young Emperor Mountain on your behalf. If one day you decide to want it, come then, and you will be the new young emperor. Jiang Fan narrowed his gaze deeply and asked, "Where is he now?" Thunder Annihilation Sage smiled, looked up at the void, his eyes revealing a trace of admiration. His voice slightly hoarse. "He went to do what he desires, will not return." Sword tightly. He had no idea what the young emperor was up to. However, it's best if the opponent doesn't return to avoid the distraction of having to deal with him as well. Now he must prepare wholeheartedly for the counterattack against the heavenly realm. So many have sacrificed, and the chance to destroy the heavenly realm and avenge them is right at hand. If their generation doesn't seize it, they'll become the sinners of history. Nodding toward the Thunder Annihilation Sage, Jiang Fan said, "Farewell." He soared into the sky but did not leave the heavenly state directly. Instead, with a flicker, he appeared before the medicine god hall. The two great venerates, Tongxin and Tong Hun, who were guarding the hall, were also startled by Jiang Fan's arrival. "Greetings, Jiang Dao Yu," Tongxin bowed honestly, no longer having the arrogance he displayed when Jiang Fan first arrived at the heavenly state. The impact of Jiang Fan's battle with the young emperor had spread throughout the Central Earth. He now firmly held the position of the foremost divinity transformation in Central Earth, invincible unless a sage showed up. "Where is your hall master?" Jiang Fan asked. Tong Hun quickly replied. "Replying to Jiang Daoyu, our master is in the chamber assisting the Star Night Sage in nourishing her soul." Star Night Sage. Jiang Fan recalled that back in the Medicine God Hall, the Wuhan sage indeed had a remnant soul of a female sage. She should be one of the 4 giants of the Medicine God Hall from 1,000 years ago. As he contemplated, 2 figures materialized before Jiang Fan, the elderly Wuhan sage and the transparent Star Night Sage, a middle-aged woman. "Kid, how did you come back alive?" Wuhan sage said displeased. Hey, Jiang Fan was speechless. "I'm sorry to disappoint you for not dying in the heavenly realm." Wuhan sage puffed his beard, snorted, and said, "I was thinking of rescuing you from the giant when counterattacking the heavenly realm, and then you'd be grateful and alchemize for our medicine god hall for 1,000 years for free. Yet you managed to run back yourself. Those giant fools." Jiang Fan almost laughed in anger. "Alchemy for 1,000 years. Where did this black-hearted notion come from?" He glanced at the Star Night Sage and asked, "How is this senior's soul condition?" The Star Night Sage shrugged. "I am not like the Purple Soul Sage who has the Jade Paper Heavenly Book, a world artifact to protect her remnant soul. Over 1,000 years, my remnant soul has diminished almost to nothing. I'll probably wither away in a Joss cycle." Jiang Fan suddenly understood. So the lecherous sage actually has a name, Purple Soul Sage. He slightly nodded and took out 10 drops of law wine, saying, "Here you are, take your time to digest." The Star Night Sage's eyes lit up and she said, "No wonder you could win over the Purple Soul Sage, making her go around Central Earth claiming to be your little wife." Phooey. Jiang Fan had an urge to spit blood. This old woman knows how to take advantage. He shook his head, too lazy to explain. Then he pulled out the corpse of a middle-aged female sage, saying, "This is for you as well. Once your soul recovers some, you can possess and rebuild." The Star Night Sage was momentarily stunned, then shocked. "A sage's corpse, and female?" A complete sage's corpse is incredibly precious. In the vast Central Earth, apart from the misfortune sage's remains, no other could be found. Jiang Fan not only took one out casually, but it also happened to be a fit for the Star Night Sage's female sage body. Wuhan Sage's eyes widened. "Kid, which senior did you ask to hold on for a moment to obtain this corpse?" Jiang Fan naturally wouldn't say he had 19 such corpses. "This time I met an expert in the void and paid some price to ask for this for the Star Night Sage." The Star Night Sage was dazed. "You asked for it for me?" Jiang Fan nodded, half-truthfully saying, 1,000 years ago you fought for Central Earth, ending up with a remnant soul with nowhere to tether. How could this junior bear to see your demise?" The Star Night Sage didn't doubt it, for the corpse seemed perfectly tailored for her, not something acquired by chance. She was somewhat touched and said, "No wonder you're so loved by the Purple Soul Sage. You're such a good child." After a brief thought, she took out a piece of jade scroll which had soul engravings on it. "This is the soul secret technique I once cultivated, called the soul transfer skill. It can forcibly exchange the souls of 2 living beings, lasting for a day." Wow. Jiang Fan raised his eyebrows. It sounded intriguing. If facing 2 powerful enemies at once and swapping their souls, they would undoubtedly be frantic due to unfamiliarity with the new body. The sage's corpse wasn't given in vain. He accepted it unceremoniously. "Thank you, Star Night Sage. You're the most beautiful female sage." The Star Night Sage covered her mouth and laughed. "Make sure your little wife, the Purple Soul Sage, doesn't hear. She might get really mad." She accepted the law wine and sage female corpse, saying, "Thanks to Jiang Daoyu, I hope I can contribute a little remaining strength to the fight back against the heavenly realm from Central Earth." Then, she swept up the 2 items and returned to her practice inside the hall. Wuhan Sage rolled his eyes. "See how you've coaxed my junior sister into being a fool. If you existed in our era, all female sages would have been snatched clean by you." Jiang Fan smiled slightly with a thought, and a row of over 100 spirit grasses appeared before him. They were heart-devouring soul grasses, materials for refining great pills to break through the 2nd decline, black spirit grasses for breaking through the 3 declines, as well as countless unnamed great medicinal spiritual treasures. Wuhan Sage looked as if a treasure mountain had suddenly dropped in front of him, shocked enough to take a cold breath. His body trembled slightly, incredulously saying, "Sourceless divine grass to enhance domain strength, divine thought spirit ginseng to accelerate cultivation technique comprehension, dragon abyss fruit to break through the four declines bottleneck." Gulp, Wuhan Sage's throat bobbed. These legendary great medicines never before seen in Central Earth were more alluring to him than peerless beauties. He stepped forward, intending to touch, but Jiang Fan put them all away. Wuhan Sage immediately fretted, intensely uncomfortable, until suddenly his eyes turned and he said, "Jiang Daoyu, you might not believe me, but I was actually trafficked to Central Earth as a child. I've always longed to return to my homeland, but I can't remember where I came from. I only recall that my homeland was full of dragon abyss fruits. Where did you find your dragon abyss fruit? It might be my home, please tell me, I miss home so much." Jiang Fan was stunned. Since when did Central Earth's culture become so unfamiliar? He glanced at Wuhan Sage and said, "These materials all came from the heavenly realm. You can take them." Wuhan Sage then stopped pretending. His eyes gradually narrowed. Heavenly realm? Could it have been cultivated by that old wretch Yunhe Li Xian? Jiang Fan said, "Who else could it be?" Wuhan Sage's expression turned grim and he snorted. "So it's him? How much of his herbs did you take?" Jiang Fan heard the deeper meaning and replied, "All of it, didn't leave him a single blade of grass." Hearing this, Wuhan Sage couldn't help but laugh heartily. "Good, well done. Would this old bastard not be enraged to death?" "Ha ha ha ha." Jiang Fan looked at him in confusion. Did Wuhan Sage have a grudge with Yunhe Li Xian? Suddenly, he remembered something. 1,000 years ago, the Medicine God Hall had a total of 4 sages. They were the Ancient Heart Sage, Star Night Sage, and Wuhan Sage. There was also another sage, the renegade to the heavenly realm, one of the 10 sins of Central Earth, Yunhe Li Xian. So it was him. Jiang Fan's eyes flashed coldly. That old beast! In his mind appeared the scene of Ling Zuzi being killed by Yunhe Li Xian, and murderous intent surged in his eyes. The Wuhan sage said coldly, "Our primary target in this raid on the southern heavenly realm is to kill him. Unfortunately, he's too cunning. We only shattered his flesh and his soul managed to escape." Jiang Fan was slightly puzzled. "Why isn't your primary target Xianxia Cultivation? He's the chief among the 10 sins of Central Earth." HMPH. The Wuhan sage snorted coldly. "Because Yunhe Li Xian was the first to betray back then. Under his instigation, other inferior sages followed suit in betrayal, and Xianxia Cultivation was the last to betray." "What?" Jiang Fan laughed in anger. No wonder Yunhe Li Xian hated him more than the other inferior sages. He was indeed the ringleader of the 10 sins. At that time, the momentum of Central Earth was like a rainbow. Victory was in sight. If no one led the betrayal, perhaps no one would have dared to step forward. Who would have thought, among them, the sole master, who seemed least adept at slaughter, would cause the greatest harm? He said in a deep voice, "No problem, when we counterattack the heavenly realm, he'll be the first to die." The Wuhan sage nodded deeply, his eyes flickering slightly, and asked, "How are the sages you contacted?" "I'm afraid just as sages aren't enough to counterattack the heavenly realm." Jiang Fan recalled the sages from various realms waiting for trade outside the heavenly realm and said, "Enough." He raised his hand, and a large batch of materials for refining the heavenly human second decline pill appeared in the air. Jiang Fan said, "Senior Wuhan, I've come to you to ask for your help in refining 7th grade great pills before the battle as much as possible, to enhance the strength of my divinity transformation realm of Central Earth. All the materials I've sought are here." Among them were gains from ancient hunting, and many came from the medicine garden, enough to refine over 50 pills. Currently, Central Earth has only 150 divinity transformation realm cultivators, with over 100 at the heavenly person decline. These 50 pills are enough to raise half of them to the heavenly human second decline. The Wuhan sage's eyes showed sentiment. "These materials are no less valuable than the corpse of a sage. For Central Earth, you're truly willing. All right, I'll refine them for you, and besides, I'll help you refine the dragon abyss fruit into pills, which might even help you break through to the heavenly person 4 declines in one stroke." Jiang Fan rejoiced, bringing out the dragon abyss fruit. The Wuhan sage said, "To refine this fruit into a spirit pill requires time. I may not be able to refine it before the counterattack on the heavenly realm." Jiang Fan said, "No worries, I haven't yet comprehended the 4th domain, so there's no rush now. I'll leave the pills to the Wuhan sage, farewell." The Wuhan sage watched as Jiang Fan left. Long after looking at the pile of materials before him, he finally came to his senses, chuckling helplessly. Brat, how did I unknowingly become your free labor? Meanwhile, Jiang Fan had already instantaneously moved to the Qinshan Bureau, leaving the heavenly state via the state-level teleportation array. In the near Moon Palace, Silver Moon Venerable watched as Jiang Fan swaggered away, unwillingly saying, Hall Master, why did you let him leave like this? Moon Venerate brought news that our secret, Moon Palace legacy, was stolen by him. That's something only future palace masters are qualified to train in. Leng Yue Sage gazed in the direction Jiang Fan went and said, If we don't let him leave, what can we do? You witnessed his battle with the young emperor. With my old bones, I wouldn't withstand a beating from him. As for the Moon Palace legacy, rest assured, he can't train a single bit without the moonlight power. Silver Moon Venerable's face was grim. He didn't actually think Jiang Fan would succeed in training the Moon Palace legacy. He himself had absorbed all the moonlight power of the current generation of the Moon Palace, only to practice to the second chapter. He was just annoyed that Jiang Fan could come and go freely in the heavenly state. HMPH, let him strut for a while. When our Moon Palace's senior returns, his good days will be over. Taikang State, Qinshan Bureau. The great wine sacrifice held a horsetail whisk, waiting before an island. Seeing Jiang Fan stride out of the state-level teleportation array, he smilingly asked, Was this journey smooth? Jiang Fan replied, Not bad. I'm quite a frequent visitor in the southern heavenly realm. The giants are quite warm. Great wine sacrifice is waiting for me. Is there something? The great wine sacrifice from Taikang State nodded lightly. An old acquaintance visited you. But you weren't in, so she left, leaving me a key to pass on to you. A key forged from Thunderbolt appeared before Jiang Fan. Jiang Fan was puzzled. An old acquaintance. He picked up the key for a look. Although it was condensed from Thunderbolts, it was just a magic artifact to unlock some simple restrictions. It wasn't some rare treasure, but the key was engraved with a line of words. Young Emperor Mountain, Room 10 of Section 1. Jiang Fan wondered. The old acquaintance you mentioned wouldn't be the young emperor, would it? The young emperor had already left him the Thunder Lord Sword and Thunderbolt Throne. He wouldn't leave another key, right? The great wine sacrifice shook his head. It's the Princess of Beihai, Jai Qingshuan. What? Her? Jiang Fan was alert. He'd been wanting to have a good chat with Jai Qingshuan to explore her true background. This woman, who could silently enter the Moon Palace and easily extract the rib of the misfortune sage from the Forbidden Land, was truly mysterious. Where is she? Jiang Fan asked. The great wine sacrifice replied. She's already left Central Earth, heading to a broader world, seeking the unknown. Left Central Earth? Jiang Fan was stunned. Speaking of, this lady came from the vast sea to Taikang State, then from Taikang State to Heavenly State, all with a single purpose. To gain knowledge. The great wine sacrifice added, She asked me to open the world's barriers and then stepped into the void. Jiang Fan furrowed his brows deeply. What cultivation does she have, not fearing the tumult of the void? The great wine sacrifice said, Her cultivation isn't high, but that umbrella of hers is enough to let her walk the void as if on flat ground. That umbrella, born at her arrival, was truly formidable. Jiang Fan was immensely curious. Great wine sacrifice, what's Jai Qingshuan's real background? He remembered. The great wine sacrifice had once commented on Jai Qingshuan extracting the misfortune sage's bone, saying that if Jai Qingshuan took it, it made sense. Remarking between the lines, the great wine sacrifice indeed knew Jai Qingshuan's background. The great wine sacrifice's gaze deepened. Her precise background is unknown. But I was present when her umbrella descended upon the North Sea. That umbrella, it didn't fall from the sky. It was placed beside her by an unspeakable existence protecting her. Jiang Fan frowned. Unspeakable. Do you mean ancient saint? The great wine sacrifice shook his head. More unspeakable than ancient saint. Isn't the saint realm the pinnacle of martial path? What could be more unspeakable than ancient saint? Suddenly, he thought of the forbidden being in the third layer of the Sumeru divine prison. Could it be such an existence that delivered the umbrella to Jai Qingshuan? The great wine sacrifice waved the floating dust in his hand, unwilling to mention such existence again. He looked at the key in Jiang Fan's hand and said, She said you are his only friend in Central Earth. You may not return upon leaving, as all of life's preserved knowledge is stored in the secret chamber of young Emperor Mountain. If you encounter difficulties and confusion, you can go to her secret chamber to find answers. Just as you once sat and discussed the Tao. Jiang Fan recalled the scenes of conversing with Jai Qingshuan twice, a warm smile appearing at the corner of his mouth. Thanks, old friend. I also wish you to seek more knowledge in the void. He tightly grasped the key and carefully preserved it. The great wine sacrifice said, to be connected with Miss Jai Qingshuan is your blessing, treasure it well. Jiang Fan nodded heavily. I will. Farewells, by the way. Great wine sacrifice, do you know the name of the Linlang hunting host, the one at the peak of the heavenly ascending ancient road? The great wine sacrifice said, I know he is called Lingzuzi, a divinity transformation realm from 1,000 years ago. Why ask this? Jiang Fan's eyes dimmed slightly. Turns out he's called Lingzuzi. He lay dormant in the heavenly realm for a month, collected important information, and sent it to Central Earth. Even sacrificed his life to destroy the ancient sky pit blood pool, helping me to defeat 100 transformed giant kings, eliminating a huge threat to Central Earth. The great wine sacrifice's eyes showed a hint of sorrow and said, I will personally erect a tombstone for him in the Taikang Mausoleum. As for the information, I will find a way to locate it. Jiang Fan nodded silently. Thank you, great wine sacrifice, farewell. With a despondent mood, he took the transmission array back to the underground palace, then instantly moved back to the heavenly mechanism pavilion, in front of the mountain gate. The crowd was like a tide. After a supreme elder of the great Yin sect, named Feng, broke through the barrier with the help of the little Buddha venerate of the heavenly mechanism pavilion and testified to divinity transformation. The number of people coming to the heavenly mechanism pavilion seeking opportunity increased daily. But none dared step into the mountain gate. Because in the distance, Silver Moon Venerable broke into the heavenly mechanism pavilion uninvited, only to be violently beaten by Jiang Fan, losing face as the Moon Venerate. Nearby, several divinity transformation realm individuals were born consecutively, intimidating one side. Thus, no one dared to enter recklessly. In front of the mountain gate, only the rebellious Guy and little Tiger lay on the steps, raising their little butts, wailing as they ate spirit fruit. Jiang Fan arrived via instant movement. He laughed and patted the two beasts' backs. Is this how you guard the mountain gate? Already feeling downhearted, seeing the two cute little beasts' joyful attitudes, his mood brightened considerably. Rebellious Guy and little Tiger raised their heads and showed their joy. Wow, big brother, you finally returned. Uncle, you're back. Little Tiger leaped into Jiang Fan's arms, so happy. My mom worried about you to death. She doesn't even worry when my dad is gone. Wait. Jiang Fan's smiling face suddenly froze. Yellow Springs? Damn, how did he forget him? He allowed him to disguise as Green Pearl and infiltrate the camp, and then... There was no then. Jiang Fan's forehead started to sweat anxiously. Little Tiger reached out with a fluffy little paw to wipe the sweat, saying, Uncle, what's up with you? Jiang Fan felt guilty, saying, It's hot, nothing. You two continue to guard the mountain gate. He put Little Tiger down and quickly slipped away. Feeling self-reproach, Yellow Springs left in the Hell Realm, how could he fare well? Didn't he doom Yellow Springs to death? Why does he always forget about Yellow Springs? Adding the Heavenly Mountain and the Hell Realm, it's been twice now. Feeling uneasy, he has to find a way to first confirm whether Yellow Springs is still alive. But how can he confirm matters of the Hell Realm? Suddenly, his eyes brightened. The seven-colored spirit liquid pool of the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion. These spiritual liquids were once Ling Shu's bathing pool in the Heavenly Realm, later taken by Jiang Fan with the connecting sky black pillar, becoming the training secret ground of the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion. At this moment, Green Pearl was comfortably soaking inside. A pair of small hands emerged, holding a small black booklet. On the first page was prominently written Jiang Fan's name. Below was a relevant introduction. Jiang Fan, Central Earth Human Clan, age 19, Heavenly Human 3 Decline Realm. Destiny favorable, fate twisted, dust fated tangled. In the Wuxu year, left the continent, then slayed the demon emperor and ascended Linlang hunting. Currently has left the southern heavenly realm. Green Pearl shut the booklet, giggling. I knew my husband was safe on this journey. The reason why no one in the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion worries about Jiang Fan and can concentrate on cultivating is all because she uses the Book of Life and Death to monitor Jiang Fan's status in real time. As long as the Book of Life and Death does not show death, it means he's still alive. Green Pearl scrubbed her arm and hummed, I want to clean up and make fragrant, waiting for him to come back. Splosh. Suddenly there was a splashing sound behind her, making Green Pearl's eyelids jump. Before she could scold, a gentle voice came to her ears. Why wash clean waiting for me? Jiang Fan held her from behind. Green Pearl turned around joyfully, looked at Jiang Fan before her and dived into his arms. "Husband, you've finally come back." Feeling her enthusiasm, Jiang Fan gently embraced her, saying, "Yes, your husband has escaped death again." Green Pearl wound her arms around his neck, acting coquettishly. "This time I won't let you go easily. Otherwise, you'll go find that fox, find true word venerable." Jiang Fan chuckled, but also remembered that after their union in Central Earth, he hadn't touched her since, feeling a bit ashamed. Green Pearl had let go of everything, not even wanting the Asura clan, wholeheartedly following him, yet he somewhat neglected her. All right, I will accompany you all day today." Jiang Fan lovingly rubbed her head, saying, "However, help me check on someone first." Green Pearl's eyes sparkled. "You promised you must accompany me all day today." She happily opened the booklet, conjured a pitch-black pen with the blood-inherited talent of the Asura King, and asked, "Who do you want to check on?" Seeing the talent-conjured pen, he finally understood why the other Shore Realm Master claimed the Book of Life and Death requires someone above the Asura King from the Asura clan to activate. "Check on Yellow Springs." Green Pearl immediately wrote the words Yellow Springs. A series of brief information appeared. Yellow Springs, Longyan Venerable's spiritual pet, age 1000, divinity transformation realm. Destiny ordinary, fate ordinary, experiences extraordinary. In the Jiawu year, fought the Hell Beast, then fought the Evil Crow Venerable. Poof. Jiang Fan almost burst out laughing. Turns out Yellow Springs over 1,000 years. Only these two things were worth getting into the Book of Life and Death. However, upon seeing the last line, he abruptly sat up. Met Heavenly Court King, entered Heavenly Court. Heavenly Court King? Who is this person? Jiang Fan appeared surprised, recalling that the Emperor's gaze technique cultivated by Yue Mingzhu originated from the so-called Heavenly Court. Is this Heavenly Court King the ruler of the Heavenly Court? Then what is his cultivation? Is taking Yellow Springs away out of goodwill or ill intent? Thinking a bit, Jiang Fan said, "Check on this Heavenly Court King's identity." Green Pearl obediently picked up the pen, but she couldn't write anything, forcing it made her face quickly pale, as if she suffered some kind of backlash. Jiang Fan sensed something was wrong and scattered the pen condensed by the Green Pearl with a single flick of his finger, allowing her to finally gasp for breath. Earlier, she seemed to be drowning, unable to release the pen or continue. On the Book of Life and Death, there was only a shallow line left behind. This person's cultivation level is so high that Green Pearl couldn't probe it. "Are you okay?" Jiang Fan quickly checked Green Pearl and found her yin-chi completely empty, with her life force somewhat diminished. Just that single pen stroke almost drained her. Green Pearl weakly leaned against Jiang Fan's chest, her lips pale. "I'm fine, it's just that the Book of Life and Death cannot be used indefinitely. Encountering such a forbidden existence, my strength isn't enough to explore it." Jiang Fan hugged her tightly with concern, saying, "I was too rash. It's not so easy to wield a world artifact." Once Green Pearl's condition gradually improved, Jiang Fan finally sighed in relief. Although the fate of the Yellow Springs is still unknown, at least he knows he is still alive. Looking at the Book of Life and Death, Jiang Fan was curious to glimpse future fate, but restrained himself at the thought that Green Pearl almost died just now. His calamity is such that even speaking a single sentence could instantly kill him due to significant cause and effect. And if Green Pearl dared to peek, the consequences would be even more severe. "Put it away and don't use it lightly in the future," Jiang Fan said softly. Green Pearl rubbed the Book of Life and Death and said, "It has many uses that I have yet to explore. Whenever I make a new discovery, I'll inform my husband." With that, she tucked it into her storage device and then looked at Jiang Fan with a blush on her face, saying, "You promised a whole day, right?" Jiang Fan smiled and, turning over, pinned her beneath him, saying, "Yes, I guarantee not a breath less for you." He waved his hand, enveloping them in a veil of colored mist. As the mist rolled, Green Pearl's heavenly gate was willingly opened. The seductive sounds were endless. The Hell Realm. Red Sleeves, with her golden long hair, stood silently in front of the void rift. In her hands, she held a blood pearl the size of an eyeball, emanating pure Asura sacred power. Behind her stood 10 Asura emperors from the lineage of Dream Charm Asura. And behind the Asura emperors, 1,000 young Asura women stood, faces filled with indelible shame and sorrow. Because behind them there lay 1,000 corpses, over 10,000 nascent soul realm resources for war indemnity, and a floating, boundless continent, all of which were compensations sent to Central Earth, including 1,000 Asura women. Today was the darkest day for the Hell Realm. 1,000 Jiang projection descended. enveloping them, as the somewhat deep voice of the other Shore Realm Master came from high above. Being in Central Earth, do not forget this humiliation. Await the opportunity, restore our lost territories. The 10 Asura emperors and 1,000 female Asura bowed one after the other. We obey the command. The other Shore Realm Master continued. In Central Earth, all of you are to follow Red Sleeve's orders. Her orders are the Realm Master's will. The Asura emperors and female Asura once again bowed and agreed. The huge projection nodded slightly. Sending so many people to Central Earth makes it hard to ensure they won't be bribed by that punk Jiang Fan. Except for Red Sleeves, who was betrayed by Jiang Fan and consequently driven out by her clan, leaving her with no place in the Hell Realm. It's no exaggeration to say Jiang Fan is her mortal enemy. Anyone else could be bought, but not Red Sleeves. Thus, the command of this group of Asura was entrusted entirely to Red Sleeves. In the future, when the Hell Realm deals with the threat of the undying divine tree and attacks Central Earth, they would rely on Red Sleeves to gather the Asura for inside and outside collaboration. However, the other Shore Realm Master noticed Red Sleeves hanging her head low, slightly biting her red lips, with her arms wrapped around herself. There was an unusual look on her face, as if she was holding back and suppressing something. Although it gradually eased, it still looked very strange. Red Sleeves, what's the matter? Red Sleeves snapped back to herself and hurriedly replied, Nothing, I will not fail in my mission. The other Shore Realm Master paused momentarily and said, All right then, let the Realm Master first possess your body and investigate. Red Sleeves' anomaly left her a little uneasy. Handling the task of delivering the war indemnities, she decided to do it herself. A glimpse of sly determination flashed in Red Sleeves' eyes as she said, Understood. The projection of the other Shore Realm Master slowly faded, her voice scattering in the wind. Remember to timely transition the body, or else, with your soul occupying the pill pearl, I won't be able to return into it. Red Sleeves cupped her hands. I invite the Realm Master to possess my body. In the next moment, her eyes lost their luster, making her look like a beautiful puppet. Then they twirled around twice, now holding a seductive charm within them. Let's go. Follow me to Central Earth. I hope to meet that little bastard Jiang Fan again. She led everyone, including the enormous continent behind her, out of the void towards the world barrier below the Hunyuan state of Central Earth. The 9 great wine sacrifices and many sages of Central Earth sensed it, gathering beneath the Hunyuan state. The 9 great wine sacrifices united once again, creating an enormous breach in the previously closed heavens and earth. The other Shore Realm Master piloted the continent, surging with yin qi upwards with a thunderous rumble. As the sound of friction between the continent and the world barrier continued to echo, a vast, new great state rose from nothing. The great state's yin qi pierced the sky, and the unique heavenly materials and earthly treasures, along with beasts exclusive to the Hell Realm, breathed new life into this void wasteland. Central Earth once again possessed 9 great states. The faces of the great wine sacrifices and sages were filled with an irresistible heroic spirit. This was the first expansion of boundaries in Central Earth since the ancient saints established the 9-province map eons ago, wasn't it? Even though it was just one great state, it was enough to be written into legends and praised for eternity. The great wine sacrifice of Taikang State said, Thank you, Hell Realm, for the completion. The other Shore Realm Master stepped forward and said, I am Qingjiu. Representing the Hell Realm, I offer a great state, 1,000 young Asura women, 1,000 corpses available for possession, and 10,000 nascent Soul Realm resources as per the treaty, as well as the conditions of the peace monument, including myself and an opportunity for 1 Asura Emperor to break through. Lastly, 10 Asura Emperors have come to exchange for the remnant soul of the Yellow Springs Realm Master. I invite the Taoist friends from Central Earth to inspect it. The sages of Central Earth listened in shock. Of course, they knew about the treaty, as it had brought unprecedented benefits to Central Earth. But they didn't know that Jiang Fan had captured the remnant soul of the Yellow Springs Realm Master, demanding 10 Asura Emperors. Doesn't this mean they have a tremendous advantage in attacking the Heavenly Realm? The Jiangshan first-class building owner laughed heartily. 1 Jiang Fan is worth 10,000 troops. Central Earth, indeed, is full of outstanding talents. Ha ha ha, the other Shore Realm Master secretly gritted her teeth and scanned the surroundings, asking, Where is young Master Jiang Fan? He is the hero who signed the treaty. Why isn't he attending the handover ceremony? Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion, Spirit Pond. Green Pearl lay contentedly in Jiang Fan's arms, rubbing her small face against his head. This life is so comfortable. It really was not wrong to follow my husband. If Red Sleeves had tasted my husband's goodness, she absolutely wouldn't have run to the Hell Realm. I'm much luckier than her. Jiang Fan couldn't help but chuckle. What Green Pearl enjoys, Red Sleeves would not have missed out on either. Green Pearl lazily stretched her waist and said, "All right, I won't disturb my husband anymore. You must have many things to do now that you're back." She was already satisfied. Who knew Jiang Fan suddenly picked her up, teasingly saying, "I promised to keep you company for a day, and now you want to run after just a short time." Green Pearl was a bit apprehensive. Then wait a bit, let me rest." Jiang Fan laughed. "Rest? The others have a whole day, you can't escape either." With that, he set her down. Green Pearl's eyes widened in surprise. Above Hunyuan State, the great wine sacrifice of Taikang State held a horsetail whisk, smiling. "Starfear Venerable has just returned to the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion. He should be dealing with the sex matters. For now, he's too busy to come." The other Shore Realm Master felt slightly disappointed. She had hoped to tease him with Red Sleeve's body, but alas. Finding the handover ceremony went smoothly, she no longer wished to stay, saying, "The Hell Realm has already adhered to the treaty and agreements. Hopefully, our two realms will turn swords into plowshares, coexist peacefully, and form an everlasting bond." Ah, as she spoke, the other Shore Realm Master's body suddenly trembled violently, her legs clamped together. Her eyes widened in shock and doubt painted her face. The great wine sacrifice and the sages were momentarily stunned by her strange tone, and the nameless sage asked in surprise, "Friend Qingjiu, what's wrong with you?" The other Shore Realm Master was equally puzzled. Something just entered her body suddenly, and the sensation. Wasn't it between a man and a woman? Why did her body suddenly have this feeling? Was it an illusion? As she pondered, she suddenly widened her eyes, pupils rapidly constricting, body trembling uncontrollably. Because that sensation was rhythmically and quickly coming. She wrapped her arms around herself, biting her lip tightly, forcibly restraining herself, muttering inwardly, "What's wrong with Red Sleeve's body? Why? Why is it affected from afar like this? I need to return to the Hell Realm." With a thought, her subsoul's consciousness arrived before the pill pearl within. "Red Sleeves, come out quickly, your body has returned to your control." Yet the pill pearl was still. Red Sleeves seemed asleep. "Come out!" The other Shore Realm Master panicked, hurriedly shouting. Her call was met with silence. Red Sleeve's soul curled up in the pill pearl, feigning deafness, ignoring the other Shore Realm Master's repeated scolding outside. "Red Sleeves, come out quickly, hurry!" Outside. With no hope of returning to the pill pearl, the other Shore Realm Master could only feign calmness, saying, "Friends of Central Earth, I'm unwell and shall rest first. Other matters will be discussed with the 10 Asura Emperors." Upon finishing, she quickly flew to the ground, finding a cave to close herself in. After setting up numerous barriers, she could no longer endure rolling on the ground. "This body has innate telepathy. The experience of someone connected by blood with Red Sleeves is synchronizing with me. Is it the one named Green Pearl? Green Pearl's man is Jiang Fan. I'm experiencing what Jiang Fan is." Red Sleeves. "Get out, this is Jiang Fan for you." Allah, rolling over and over, time slowly passed by. A day later, the other Shore Realm Master lay on the ground, drenched, her face flushed. Clenching her fists tightly, she gritted her teeth in shame and anger. "Jiang Fan, I won't let you off. Daring to do such and such to this Realm Master all day. If I don't strangle you, I... Before she finished, an anxious awareness from Red Sleeves arrived. "Realm Master, I'm sorry, it seems my soul fell asleep. I'll take back control of the body." The other Shore Realm Master laughed angrily. "You come out after torturing me. Haha, Red Sleeves, no wonder you were unwilling to come to Central Earth as a spy originally. Even more, why you'd ask if I'd inherit your bodily senses when taking control. Turns out you and Green Pearl have telepathy. You even plotted against me, Red Sleeves, you're quite capable." Red Sleeves did not deny, conveying leisurely. "Realm Master insisted on taking control. I neither forced nor deceived." "You!" The other Shore Realm Master was furious. She understood now. Red Sleeves deliberately retaliated against her, because she coerced Red Sleeves to sign the treaty as the Hell Realm's representative, leading the Hell Realm to have no place for refuge. Now, letting her be trampled by Jiang Fan for a day was a minor revenge. Only then did she realize she'd underestimated Red Sleeves. This girl was far from as controllable as imagined. Deploying her beside Jiang Fan and managing the 10 Asura emperors and 1,000 female Asuras might not be a wise decision. With the situation as it was, she could only temporarily appease Red Sleeves. Wait until the mission is accomplished before breaking ties. She hid her irritation, jestingly said, "Fine, I admit defeat. But you must endure it yourself next. Jiang Fan and Green Pearl will have more than just this once. Soon there will be a next time and a time after that. Stay beside him and feel it gradually." Haha, her consciousness retreated, Red Sleeve's soul returned. Feeling the body's unusual warmth, she lightly bit her alluring red lips. This time she had the Realm Master endure for her, but what about the future? At this moment, a wisp of the other Shore Realm Master's consciousness came. "Oh right, Jiang Fan has quite diverse techniques, you're fortunate." Red Sleeves involuntarily hugged her arms. A trace of annoyance floated in her eyes, she said. "That guy, wasn't he done in an hour? This time, how did it last all day? What do I do?" She ultimately chose to agree. Besides the reward for breaking through to the Asura Emperor, there was another point. That being Jiang Fan wasn't enduring and typically finished in an hour. She could forcibly endure, but why hadn't anyone told her he'd last a whole day and night? How to endure this? Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion. Jiang Fan held the weak Green Pearl, smiled. "Shall we continue?" Green Pearl weakly shook her head. No more, I don't want it at all. Go find True Words and the Fox, I won't dare occupy you anymore." Jiang Fan chuckled, ruffled her hair, suddenly noticed she exuded the aura of the 5-crowned king of hell. Already a 5-crowned king, just a fortune away from being an Asura emperor. Sadly, the Asura holy blood obtained last time was all given to Yoren. If the Hell Realm sent that opportunity for the Asura emperor, it would be great. Calculating the time, the Hell Realm should be arriving too. The Hell Realm's resources and Asura Emperor are crucial elements in his plan to attack the Heavenly Realm. Suddenly, he noticed a pocket wriggling within the clothes beside him. It was the group of transformed giant kings. This is a major hidden threat. He covered Green Pearl with a blanket, kissed her forehead, and said, "Rest here, I will handle some things." With that, he dressed and instantaneously moved out of the spirit liquid pool, appearing above the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion. Just as he was about to find a suitable place to release the giant kings, he suddenly sensed uncontrolled divinity transformation fluctuations. Is it Xianxia? The aura is off. Jiang Fan moved instantly to the back mountain of the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion, only to find Xianxia and the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion Master emitting divinity transformation realm auras, comforting a petite girl sitting on the mountain, crying loudly. The girl was precisely Gu Zinner. Jiang Fan was taken aback. After several days away, the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion Master and Gu Zinner had both broken through to the divinity transformation realm. This is great news. But why is Gu Zinner crying? She seems very upset. "Jiang, you're back." Xianxia sensed Jiang Fan's aura, turned her head, and her face lit up with joy. The Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion Master, as if seeing a savior, said, "Vice Pavilion Master Jiang, quickly talk some sense into friend Gu. She can't think it through and is about to kill herself." Jiang Fan stepped forward, sensing her unusually powerful aura, and couldn't help asking in confusion, "Gu Zinner, did something go wrong with your cultivation?" Gu Zinner tilted her head back, revealing a face full of tear marks and a pair of eyes swollen from crying like 2 little walnuts. Woo, I don't want to live anymore, this world is meaningless." She grabbed the rope looped around her neck and pulled it tight, scaring Xianxia and the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion Master into rushing to stop her. Xianxia said, "Jiang, Xingxin's domain has a bit of a problem, can you help her?" "The domain has a problem." Jiang Fan frowned slightly and said, "Gu Zinner, stop making a scene. Let me see what exactly your problem is first. If it can be solved, I'll give you a hand." Only then did Gu Zinner barely withdraw her tears, sobbing as she said, "My domain is bullying me?" Huh. Jiang Fan was stunned for a moment. "Your domain is bullying you?" Gu Zinner looked around, making sure there was no one else, then stood up and said, "Watch closely. Domain. Activate." The divine ring at the back of her head trembled slightly, and a wisp of domain power was released, applying itself to her own body. The originally petite Gu Zinner suddenly enlarged, becoming a tall, slender beauty. Jiang Fan's eyes lit up at the sight. "Your domain is enlarging, isn't that pretty good?" Gu Zinner stamped her foot and cried, "Look more closely." Jiang Fan, puzzled, shifted his gaze from her face to her snow-white long neck, then fixed it on her chest and couldn't help freezing. Every other part of Gu Zinner had gotten bigger, except her chest, which hadn't moved an inch. When she'd still been petite, it could at least be called a handful. Now that everything else had grown and this part hadn't, it actually looked smaller, no longer even a handful. Jiang Fan gave an awkward cough, so that's what she was crying about. Gu Zinner had chosen a domain of enlargement precisely to get rid of the handful label. In the end, the domain enlarged everything about her except that area. No wonder she said her domain was bullying her. Try enlarging again, give it a few more tries. Jiang Fan reminded her. Gu Zinner wiped away her tears and activated the domain again. Bigger, her height instantly became 2 zhang tall. But her chest still didn't move. That one handful pair was now embedded on a gigantic body, practically invisible, flat. Bigger again. Gu Zinner continued to unleash her domain, becoming 4 zhang tall. As her torso swelled and thickened, her chest still didn't change. The 2 handfuls were completely swallowed in, forming 2 depressions. From afar, they looked like 2 holes. Gu Zinner looked down and completely lost it, tilting her head back and wailing, "Woo, woo, woo, woo. I don't want to live anymore. Don't any of you try to stop me." She slammed her head toward the ground. Jiang Fan caught her in one motion, his face full of shock. Was Gu Zinner's handful cursed or something? How could it be this ridiculous? He held back his laughter and said, "Xingxin, don't be sad. Just treat this domain as if it doesn't exist, ignore it. Your handful look is pretty good too." "Wu," Gu Zinner cried even harder, "let me go, let me perish together with this domain." Yun Shang said helplessly, "Jiang, stop teasing her. If you have a way, say it quickly." Only then did Jiang Fan put away his smile and say seriously, "Xingxin, you can probe for your second domain. Just like my flawless domain, my first domain is better to destroy than leave a flaw, and my second domain turns flaws into perfection. You can learn from my second domain." Gu Zinner suddenly stopped crying, sat on the ground in thought, and light gradually flooded into her eyes. The 3 of them all let out a breath. It looked like Gu Zinner had figured it out. Just as the 3 exchanged a smile, Gu Zinner suddenly stood up and said, "I've got it. There is no such thing as small or big in this world. They only exist because of comparison. If my domain can make all the women in the world smaller, even to the point of having nothing, then mine will naturally be the biggest. I've attained enlightenment. Ha ha ha, I've attained enlightenment. I'm going into seclusion right now." She laughed loudly and flashed away, leaving Jiang Fan and the other 2 completely dumbfounded. Yun Shang glanced down at her own and her heart tightened. She said resentfully, "Jiang, how did you end up leading her down such a crooked path?" Jiang Fan rubbed his brow and said, "Let her be. In the end, the one she hurts most will definitely be herself. I don't have time to worry about her handful anymore." He took out the bag containing the giant king. The struggling inside was growing more intense, and he had to deal with them quickly. Looking toward a certain valley in the back mountain, he took out the Saint Crystal and tossed it into the bag. Bang, bang, bang. Intensive explosions immediately sounded from within the bag. It was one giant king after another shedding their skin, reversing back into angel leaders. Right now was when they were at their weakest. Jiang Fan dumped them all into the valley. With a loud clatter, group after group of completely snow-white angels, with nothing to cover their bodies, rolled out. There were both men and women, and all of them were young. Yun Shang's face reddened as she turned away. "Jiang, what are these?" Jiang Fan drew the evil sword, spat a mouthful of void flow thunder fire onto it, and said, "Angels. The legendary original masters of the heavenly realm." The heavenly mechanism pavilion master was also full of amazement. Feeling the powerful auras of this group of angels, he couldn't help worrying. "Can just the 3 of us control so many of them?" Jiang Fan said, "As long as they're not stupid, we can." The angels were dazed for a while before gradually regaining consciousness. Amid exclamations, they all wrapped their bodies with the wings behind them, then looked around in shock and suspicion. Jiang Fan looked down at them and said, "Welcome to Central Earth." The angels were all stunned. "Weren't we in the southern heavenly realm?" "Yeah, and we'd been transformed into ancient giants, so how come now we're?" The 2 5-chi angel lords vigilantly flew into the air, sheltering their companions below. A male angel leader fixed his gaze on Jiang Fan, whose cultivation was the highest, and said, "Who are you?" Jiang Fan said indifferently, "What you should be asking is, who was it that saved you from the giants, and who was it that reversed you back into angels?" The male angel leader's eyes remained filled with intense wariness. "You wouldn't save us for nothing. I don't believe you're that kind-hearted." "Heh!" Flames of anger flickered in Jiang Fan's eyes. "Of course I'm not that kind-hearted because I was forced to save you by you trash from the northern heavenly state." The male angel leader's eyes blazed with rage. "Insolence, how dare you insult our northern heavenly state?" Jiang Fan snorted coldly. Insult! Calling your northern heavenly state trash is praising your world. The southern heavenly realm was beaten by us of Central Earth until it could only turtle up and you. The southern heavenly realm merely sent a bit of force to probe you, and you immediately surrendered and begged for peace. You even offered up a full 10,000 of the angel clan. I call your northern heavenly state trash, and you still refuse to admit it. Leader beside him, as well as the angel clan below, all wore angry expressions, but couldn't utter a single word in retort. Central Earth actually won against the southern heavenly realm. The Central Earth of this era doesn't even have a single sage of the three calamities realm. And yet, the northern heavenly state surrendered to a struggling southern heavenly realm. Central Earth has the right to call the northern heavenly state useless. The male angel leader clenched his fist and said, "Then thank you for saving us. You might as well send us out of Central Earth if you're going to be so generous." The heavenly mechanism pavilion master was slightly annoyed. Couldn't these guys say a single word of sincere thanks? How dangerous was it for Jiang Fan to venture deep into the southern heavenly realm to bring them back? Even a toe can foresee it. And yet they lightly said, "Send the Buddha to the west," as if Jiang Fan owed them. As he was about to reprimand, Jiang Fan waved his hand to interrupt. "All right then, first tell me where you want to go." The male angel leader said, "Nonsense. Of course we're going back to the north." The words on his lips suddenly stopped. Can they even go back to the northern heavenly state? They were offerings from the northern heavenly state to the southern heavenly realm. If they escape back, the northern heavenly state will worry the peace talks between the two realms will break and send them back to the southern heavenly realm again. The female angel leader beside him was also stunned. Since they were chosen as offerings, the northern heavenly state was no longer a place they could return to. Jiang Fan said calmly, "Finally came to your senses. Still thinking about going back to the northern heavenly state. Think about your 10,000 clansmen who were eaten by the giants. Think about your despair when you were transformed into giants. You are already abandoned, homeless." The male angel leader clenched his fist and said, "Even so, we will not stay in Central Earth. Have your sage come out, open the world's barrier, and send us away. We will find a new place to settle." Jiang Fan laughed and said, "No problem. The premise is, you have to first repay the life-saving grace I gave. You don't think the ancient giants just handed you over to me, do you?" His face suddenly turned cold. The evil sword in his hand pointed at the male angel leader. "So you transformed angels won't threaten us in Central Earth. A great venerate of the human clan will stay in the southern heavenly realm forever. Now, you want to leave, you can. First pay off the debt." The angels exchanged glances. The anger on their faces gradually faded. Come to think of it, Central Earth owes them nothing. On the contrary, they owe Jiang Fan and the people of Central Earth a huge favor. The female 5-Chi angel lord said, "What do you want us to do as compensation?" Jiang Fan said, "Simple, serve Central Earth for 100 years. What? The angels were unsettled 100 years. Current Central Earth is in turmoil, constantly facing war, and who knows how many will survive in 100 years. But compared to their life-saving grace, 100 years is acceptable. It's just that accepting it feels very uncomfortable." The male 5-Chi angel lord snorted, wishful thinking. "We are noble angel clan serving the peasants of Central Earth, and serve as a slave to an angel clan slave like you." He looked disdainful, clearly sensing that Jiang Fan had cultivated the heavenly thunder 6 parts. Jiang Fan's expression was cold. "Then I will have to treat you like giants. In Central Earth, giants have only one fate. That is death." The male 5-Chi angel lord had a fierce look. "A mere slave, you dare to speak of death in front of me, a 5-Chi angel lord. If not for the fear of your sage in Central Earth, I would have killed you, this slave, 10 times for daring to mention servitude." The heavenly mechanism pavilion master was furious. Even Yun Shang frowned. These guys really ungrateful wretches, unaware of gratitude and even biting back. Jiang Fan's expression was cold. "Since you wish to imitate giants, then so be it. Starting with you." He locked his gaze on the male 5-Chi angel lord. The evil sword in his hand suddenly extended, transforming into hundreds of meters long, stabbing towards the opponent. "Heh heh, you dare attack this angel lord, overestimating yourself. All rebel with me. Our angel clan would rather die than be slaves of peasants." The wings behind him unfolded abruptly. The 5 little angels above his head released a strong, holy source. The pressure of the heavenly human 5 decline level burst out. A great battle was about to break out in the heavenly mechanism pavilion. The pavilion master's expression changed slightly. He hurriedly said, "Quickly evacuate the personnel in the pavilion." He and Yun Shang hurriedly retreated. The scenes of battles between Jiang Fan and the young emperor were vivid in their minds. Once a fight breaks out, the heavenly mechanism pavilion would be reduced to rubble. However, just as the male 5-Chi Angel Lord was about to strike, Jiang Fan coldly shouted, "Soul-capturing lock!" In an instant, the soul of the 5-Chi Angel Lord was bound by several chains, losing control over his body. This took the opponent by surprise, hurriedly shaking his soul to break the chains. But in that brief moment, the evil sword had already pierced through his body. Before he could react, Jiang Fan forcefully slashed with the evil sword. Puff! The body of the 5-Chi Angel Lord was split in two from the chest. The terrible void flow thunder fire corroded his two halves, burning them to ashes. A small angel-like soul fled in terror, both shocked and angry. Aren't you at the heavenly human 3 decline level?" What answered him was a soul-shocking stab. The 5-Chi Angel Lord, who was only left with a soul, could not withstand a soul attack. After a cry that was abruptly stopped, his soul dissipated into smoke. He didn't even have a chance to activate Jiang Fan's Heavenly Thunder 6 parts, and was completely annihilated. This scene made the angels who were ready to rebel with him tremble all over, standing frozen in place, not daring to move. The whole place was silent. Only now did they realize a problem. That is, Jiang Fan was able to capture all of them who transformed into giant kings alive. He must have used means that suppressed them completely at that time. In solo combat, none of them were a match. Jiang Fan swept his long sword, coldly pointing at them. "Now it's your turn." The female 5-Chi Angel Lord thought for a moment, then hurriedly said, "Friend, please wait, we are willing to surrender to Central Earth and serve for 100 years. Even if they band together to kill Jiang Fan, so what? Unable to leave Central Earth, they were still doomed to die. It's better to first surrender to Central Earth and stabilize the situation." Without a rebellious leader, the rest of the angels calmed down significantly. However, for Jiang Fan, this was not enough. "Hand over a wisp of your soul for me to control," Jiang Fan said coldly. The Black Sun King did the same to Green Pearl and was able to control her with a soul curse. He could very well do the same. Upon hearing this, the angels' faces changed. Wouldn't this mean their life and death would be in Jiang Fan's control? While they hesitated, a voice full of authority came. "You have no choice." A figure materializing from illusion appeared before them. It was the Jiangshan first-class building owner. He exuded the pressure of a sage, intimidating the angels into trembling all over. Earth arriving in person, the female 5-Chi Angel Lord no longer had the heart to resist. Enduring immense pain, she severed a wisp of her own soul. The rest of the angels, after exchanging glances, reluctantly cut off a wisp of their souls as well. Jiang Fan took out a small tower and absorbed all of their souls into it. After completing this step, he put away the evil sword and said, "Consider yourselves lucky for being sensible." He immediately waved his hand and threw out 100 sets of clothes for them to change into. Then he looked towards the Jiangshan first-class building owner and said, "Why did you take so long to arrive? With such a big commotion, you should have sensed it earlier." The Jiangshan first-class building owner smiled and replied, "The Hell Realm envoy group has arrived, and all of us sages went to welcome them. 1,000 female Asuras and corpses suitable for possession were distributed among various places due to the great wine sacrifices. The remaining 10 Asura emperors, along with their envoy officer Qingjiu, have come with me to the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion. They are waiting for you outside the mountain gate. Do you want to meet them now?" They finally arrived. Jiang Fan finally felt at ease. Without the 10 Asura emperors from the Hell Realm, he really wasn't confident about initiating the Heavenly Realm War. After thinking for a moment, he waved slightly. "Let them wait for a while. I'll handle internal matters first." After speaking, he clasped his hands in his sleeves and sized up the Jiangshan first-class building owner from head to toe. The Jiangshan first-class building owner was a bit puzzled by his scrutiny. "You don't intend to deal with me, do you?" Jiang Fan grinned inscrutably. "Be honest, what's your relationship with my godmother?" A hint of guilt flashed in the Jiangshan first-class building owner's eyes, and he said, "We are strangers," Jiang Fan scoffed. "Strangers, and you would use your own body to withstand a strike from the young emperor for her. Strangers, and you'd fight a group of ancient giants alone for her. Strangers, and you deliberately avoid her. Do you dare remove the disguise on your face right in front of her? The Jiangshan first-class building owner acted nonchalantly and said, "Kid, why care so much? I have things to do. Gotta go now." With those words, he hastily turned to mist and left. Just as he left, Lianjing Venerable and True Word Venerable arrived with instantaneous movement. "Fanner!" Lianjing Venerable exclaimed joyfully. Even though Green Pearl repeatedly emphasized that Jiang Fan showed no signs of death on the Book of Life and Death, as long as he didn't return for a day, Lianjing Venerable's heart wasn't at ease. Seeing him alive and truly back, there was an indescribable relief. Now both the young emperor and Jiang Fan, her two sons, were alive. This was already the best result. Jiang Fan watched the figure of the Jiangshan first-class building owner leaving and became even more certain that he was avoiding Lianjing Venerable. There was undoubtedly a story between them. Made Godmother worried. Jiang Fan came back to his senses and said, "Although I encountered some dangers in the southern heavenly realm, I ultimately returned safely." He recounted his experiences in the Sumeru divine prison and the southern heavenly realm. As he faced more and more life-and-death situations, he gradually became indifferent to them and rarely mentioned them to others. Including his closest confidant, Yun Shang, he couldn't remember the last time he shared his experiences with her. But in front of Lianjing Venerable, he was willing to talk about it, and in great detail. Lianjing Venerable listened intently. She listened as Jiang Fan described the great horror of the Sumeru divine prison and the blocked return path in the southern heavenly realm by the giant emperor and the inferior sages in a nonchalant tone. She could imagine how much peril Jiang Fan had faced to become so indifferent. She gently touched Jiang Fan's face, which had gradually shed its youthfulness, filled with tenderness. "Fanner has had such a difficult journey, and the road ahead will only be harder. Unfortunately, Godmother's cultivation is limited, and I can't help you much." She felt regretful for accumulating merit for the young emperor for so long and never considering entering sagehood herself. Now, with Jiang Fan's path growing ever harder, her heavenly human 5 declines cultivation was insufficient to assist him. Jiang Fan held her hand gratefully and said, "Godmother, please don't say that. You've helped me in so many ways, and I'm already very thankful. In the future, I don't need Godmother's help anymore. Seeing you safe and live a long life is the most likely outcome I'd be happily looking forward to." "Living long, huh?" Lianjing Venerable's lips carried a trace of unnoticeable bitterness. She feared she wouldn't live to see that day. Simply witnessing the safe birth of Jiang Fan's child and seeing the continuation of his lineage would be enough for her. "Godmother, what's wrong?" Jiang Fan noticed her sudden drop in mood. Lianjing Venerable quickly shook her head. "It's nothing, by the way. Here are 2 things for you." She took out the space mirror and the pouch containing the pretty female angel, Little Rue. Jiang Fan accepted them and glanced into the space mirror, finding the Usura Empress's family still securely bound. Meanwhile, the little Killin was asleep on the ground, holding something in its mouth that glinted with golden light. "What did it find to eat?" Jiang Fan wondered, but didn't give it much thought. He opened the pouch containing Little Rue, and she and the others fell out. With a swish, over 30 nascent Soul Realm angels tumbled out. Feeling the aura of Central Earth, they all realized they had been rescued. Little Rue looked around, and upon finding Jiang Fan, she knelt on one knee in excitement. "Thank you, Senior, for saving us." Jiang Fan said, "I could only save you. The rest of the angel clan remain under the control of the giant emperor, and I am currently powerless to rescue them." Little Rue hurriedly responded, No, Senior's help to us is already a great blessing. Little Rue will fulfill her promise as agreed." Oh. Jiang Fan suddenly recalled that this pretty female angel had once said if they were safely rescued, she'd give him a surprise. But given their dire straits, what kind of surprise could they possibly offer Jiang Fan? Little Rue unfolded her gray wings, revealing among the dense feathers a single golden one. At first glance, it bore some resemblance to the small golden feather from Xia Caoge, but without the overwhelming pressure. Little Rue grasped the feather and forcefully pulled it out, causing it to bleed slightly. Pain etched on her face, she handed the blood-stained golden feather to Jiang Fan. "This item is a token of gratitude for Senior's life-saving grace." Jiang Fan accepted the golden feather, puzzled, and asked, "Is this feather special?" Before Little Rue could reply, the female 5-Chi angel lord, who had just changed clothes, happened to witness the scene and showed a shocked expression. "The bloodline of the No Heaven Old Realm Master." Jiang Fan looked at her in surprise. "The No Heaven Old Realm Master? You're saying Little Rue is a descendant of a holy angel?" The female 5-chi angel lord scrutinized little Ru with astonishment. Yes, but the no-heaven old realm master fell 10,000 years ago. His descendants were wiped out completely, without a trace of bloodline left behind. I never expected there would still be remnants in the world. Being referred to as remnants indicated that the no-heaven old realm master didn't die a natural death. He likely perished in a struggle with other boundary masters of the heavenly realm. This made him recall the white-robed skeleton in Thunder God Heavenly Palace. Could it be that the white-robed skeleton is the no-heaven realm master? With a flicker in his eyes, Jiang Fan suppressed his internal queries, held the golden feather, and asked little Ru, "Why are you giving me this feather?" Little Ru's beautiful eyes gleamed with intelligence, and she smiled as she asked in return, "Does the senior wish to remain enslaved by the heavenly thunder 6 parts?" Jiang Fan was momentarily stunned, then understood and said, "Are you saying this feather can help me dissolve the heavenly thunder 6 parts?" Little Ru's beautiful eyes sparkled. "To be precise, it's a trace of holy angel blood within it. As long as you can refine it into your body, this power will be dissipated and the enslavement broken. Moreover, this trace of holy angel blood can also continuously provide holy power to nourish your void feather robe and angel magical artifact." Jiang Fan held the golden feather, deep in contemplation. To unravel the enslavement, naturally, was the best outcome. The male 5-chi angel lord earlier had intended to activate the heavenly thunder 6 parts within him for control. Leaving hidden dangers unsolved is not an option. The problem is the heavenly thunder 6 parts still has some use for him now. If this feather destroys the heavenly thunder 6 parts, it would be a loss outweighing the gain. Little Ru's eyes dimmed slightly, feeling uneasy, she said, "You don't like it?" Jiang Fan smiled. "I like it, thank you, Miss Little Ru. Once the heavenly realm is vanquished and the heavenly thunder 6 parts is no longer needed, then he'll refine this blood." Little Ru happily said, "That's good. As long as Senior Jiang has helped, Little Ru is relieved." The female 5-chi angel lord gave Little Ru a deep look. Her lips parted as if to say something, but she chose to remain silent. Jiang Fan put away the golden feather, turned to the pavilion master and said, "These heavenly realm guests, I'll leave them to you, pavilion master, to settle." He looked at Yun Shang and True Words, a smile breaking at the corners of his lips as he unabashedly pulled the 2 women into his arms, saying, "Let's go find Kei and Xianxia." Yun Shang and True Words felt a trace of unfamiliarity. There were still 4 days left until the agreed day of counterattacking the heavenly realm. This was far more dangerous and important than the past preparations for a life-and-death battle with the young emperor. Given Jiang Fan's nature, he should immediately enter seclusion. Unexpectedly, his first action was to spend time with them. "Husband, are you okay?" True Words felt a trace of unfamiliarity. In Jiang Fan's serene eyes, there appeared a trace of life, insight, and clarity. He softly said, "Nothing, just wanted to spend more time with you." He looked down at the 2 beautiful faces, emotions stirring in his heart. "Since I met you, my steps have always been towards distant places, rushing constantly towards the unknown. I am not unaware that beside me are you, more precious than the martial path. Time and again, I've thought of stopping after crossing the mountain ahead, yet when I stand on the peak, I find there's another river, and beyond the river a vast grassland. Over and over, the road ahead never ends. I think it's time to stop and wait for you. Otherwise, on some unintentional day, you might vanish from my life, never to be seen again." He spoke gently, unknowingly hugging True Words and Yun Shang tighter. Lianjing Venerable's previous death had deeply shocked him. The great path is heartless. Those around him will also have a day of falling. Yesterday it was Lianjing Venerable who left. Who will it be tomorrow? Will it be Yun Shang? Or True Words, who is about to step into the void? Or perhaps it's Gong Kei, who is with child? Who knows whether tomorrow or accidents will arrive first? He should stop, spend more time with them so that the future won't be left with regrets. Yun Shang felt very content, leaning her head on his shoulder with a smile. True Words, however, recalled Xingyuan Venerable, who had been busy for 10 years, falling without ever having a good talk with her, his daughter. How much are Jiang Fan and his father alike? The difference is Jiang Fan stopped. For a moment she didn't know whether to be sad or happy as 2 lines of silent tears fell, quietly sobbing in Jiang Fan's embrace. Not long after, they instantly moved to Gong Kei's secret room. "Master, this is freshly cooked spirit rice porridge. Please try it." Her former disciple Yuan Jiu, who somehow had come from the spirit beast sect on the continent to the heavenly mechanism pavilion. At this moment, she was holding a bowl of porridge, feeding it to Gong Kei. Gong Kei leaned on the couch, turned her face away, and said irritably, "I had a bowl of spiritual meat just an hour ago. Are you trying to overfeed me?" Yuan Jiu chuckled. "Master, it doesn't matter if you eat or not. Just don't let little Jiang Fan go hungry. If little Jiang Fan is born, I'd even have the merit of nurturing a dragon." Gong Kei rolled her eyes, irritable. "I shouldn't have agreed to let you come to the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion." Ever since Gong Kei was brought to the Heavenly Realm by Jiang Fan, Yuan Jiu seemed to have lost her soul, constantly writing letters, clamoring to come to the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion. Fairy Yun Shang, considering that Gong Kei was pregnant, and that the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion would soon embark on an expedition to the Heavenly Realm, decided to have someone bring Yuan Jiu over. Yuan Jiu looked content, saying, "Anyway, I finally made it here. This is the legendary Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion. I dreamed of coming here." She wiped her mouth. "Our Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion is already the top sect in Taikang State, with several in the Divinity Transformation realm. Even if I were a pig, I could make something of myself at the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion. Moreover, I'm your treasured disciple, Master. In the future, when you gain status through having a child, I can gain status through having you as my master, hehe." While laughing, suddenly 3 figures appeared before her. Yuan Jiu immediately recognized Jiang Fan, hurriedly putting down the spirit rice porridge, enthusiastically said, "Yuan Jiu greets Senior Jiang." Jiang Fan was slightly surprised. This girl had actually come too. The scene of Yuan Jiu accompanying Gong Kei to the Green Cloud sect before was still vivid in his mind. Gong Kei quickly held her belly, about to get up, and said, "Husband, I took it upon myself to let Jiu join the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion." Until now, the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion had not accepted any outsiders. She was a bit worried she might have broken the rules. Jiang Fan quickly went over to support her, saying, "What are you saying? Even if you moved the entire Spirit Beast sect, it wouldn't matter. Besides, with your disciples as companions, there's someone to keep you company when I'm not around, something I very much wish for." Saying this, he tossed a small space storage device to Yuan Jiu. "Take it and seize the time to cultivate." Yuan Jiu glanced at its contents, gasping in shock. She had already succeeded in breaking through to the nascent soul realm with the sky-reaching marrow Jiang Fan left at the Green Cloud sect. However, obtaining resources for further breakthroughs in the nascent soul realm was very difficult. But the resources within this small space storage device were enough for her to slowly break through to the 5 apertures nascent soul. "I truly came to the right place." Yuan Jiu's eyes sparkled. If only her master had listened to her earlier and come to the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion, perhaps the situation for both master and disciple would have been even better. Seeing Jiang Fan taking such care of her disciple, Gong Kei was also secretly satisfied, lightly scolding Yuan Jiu. "How are you speaking?" Yuan Jiu quickly corrected herself. Oh, thank you, master-in-law." She directly changed from calling him senior to master-in-law, a title much closer in relationship. Jiang Fan smiled slightly. This girl truly had some cleverness. Thinking for a moment, he asked, "How is the continent lately?" He wondered if the battle between Central Earth and the Hell Realm had affected the continent. Though no Asura clan members have arrived on the continent from the Attic world. Yet, the Central Earth has gathered all its troops, traversing the continent and arriving at the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion. It's hard to guarantee that these troops will not cause trouble to the sect forces along the way. Yuan Jiu said, "Everything's fine." With the Green Cloud sect backed by the sect master and holding resources that the entire continent won't exhaust for a century, it's already a transcendent sect on the continent. The other 7 sects are discussing merging into the Green Cloud sect. Saying this, her little face was full of emotion. Who would have thought that the Green Cloud sect, once at the bottom of the 9th sect, would become the continent's overlord because of Jiang Fan alone? Once an era where the 9th sect coexisted and 100 schools contended has turned into the Green Cloud sect unifying the continent. The names of the 9th sect will all disappear into history. The saying, "one person achieving enlightenment elevates all," seems nothing more than this. Jiang Fan wasn't surprised. When he left resources behind, he thought of this day. He just didn't expect it to come so quickly. He asked, "The previous 2-world battle, did it affect you?" Yuan Jiu shook her head directly. "No. The experts of Central Earth know the continent is the sect master's hometown. Who's foolish enough to cause chaos here?" Upon hearing this, Jiang Fan relaxed completely. Even without the ancient saint of cloud desolation, the continent's safety didn't need his worry. By the way, Yuan Jiu suddenly remembered something, took out a colorful scale and letter from her bosom, and handed them to Jiang Fan. When I passed by the East Sea Demon Emperor instructed me to deliver this to you. Oh, from Sister Yizhu Demon Emperor? Last time, when returning from the Hell Realm to the East Sea, I left in a hurry and didn't have a chance to see Yizhu Demon Emperor. He opened the letter and saw lines of delicate characters. Jiang Fan, my brother, this letter sees you as my presence. Thank you for the 100 spirit pills. Meng Kong's deformity is gone, restoring the original appearance. Sister is deeply grateful. Being able to assist you is heaven's last favor to me. I've heard you're going to crusade the heavenly realm, an extremely dangerous venture. My lowly cultivation can't help, so I offer you this tear of time. Hundreds of years ago, 3 pendants fell from the sky. 2 fell into the South Sea, whereabouts unknown. 1 fell into the East Sea, granted to our imperial family. It can grant any wish at the cost of one's lifespan, but the price is enormous. Do not use unless absolutely necessary. Wishing you safe return from the heavenly realm, Sister burns incense and prays for you day and night. Respectfully, Sister Yizhu. The letter, light as a feather, now held in Jiang Fan's hand, seemed to have gained weight. He carefully folded the letter and placed it in the jade box, whispering, "Thank you, Sister Yizhu, and wishing you and the East Sea safety." That sister who has drifted away from him still cares about him, offering the East Sea's treasured heirloom for his protection. Yizhu Demon Emperor said meeting Jiang Fan was heaven's favor to her, but to Jiang Fan, meeting Yizhu Demon Emperor was a lifelong fortune. Jiang Fan looked at Yuan Jiu and asked, "When the troops passed by the East Sea, there was no chaos, right?" Yuan Jiu said, "Of course not. The 4 Seas Demon Emperors are sworn brothers to the sect master, who dares provoke them. The 4 Seas are very peaceful." After a pause, Yuan Jiu said, "Wait, it seems there's an issue in the South Sea. When I left the continent, I heard that a mysterious island suddenly appeared above the South Sea Palace. There's an odd white-haired female sea demon clan member on it." Jiang Fan frowned. An island appeared out of nowhere above the South Sea Palace. The old Dream Demon Emperor doesn't care. Even more curious, if he remembered correctly, all female sea demon clan members of the 4 Seas maintain their youthful appearance until death, keeping their looks at age 20. This fact is proven by Yizhu Demon Emperor, her 3 children, and old Dream Demon Emperor. Where did this white-haired female sea demon clan member come from? Jiang Fan frowned and asked, "What's her background?" Yuan Jiu shook her head. "I don't know, but she seems benign. She's only planting various flowers on the island. Planting flowers sounds a bit strange. Won't she threaten the old Dream Demon Emperor?" Gong Kei softly said, "Husband, don't worry about it. The Green Cloud Sect will send nascent soul experts to investigate the island. If she poses a threat, they'll eliminate it." Jiang Fan gently nodded. Everyone has grown up. Not everything requires his direct involvement. "Thanks, Jiu." Jiang Fan chuckled and said, "Now go to Liu Qingxian's secret chamber and invite her over." Yuan Jiu glanced at the true word venerable and fairy Yun Shang and immediately understood what was next. She tactfully left. In her mind, she mumbled, "Jiang Fan's companions are all godlike top beauties. If my master wasn't pregnant with dragon seed, I'd have no chance to work alongside them in marriage. My master sure is blessed by fortune." After she left, Jiang Fan checked the 3's cultivation levels and distributed batches of Yun He Li Xian's great medicine to them. He also chatted with them about recent circumstances. Gong Kei had a complex expression and said, "We're all fine, husband. You don't need to worry about us. You should focus more on Qingxian's sister." Yun Shang also sighed. "She, like me and Kei's sister, has followed you from the continent. Now, we've all achieved fruition with you, except she only has status." Jiang Fan also sighed lightly. Yue Mingzhu always complains about him neglecting her, but isn't Liu Qingxian even more neglected? Thinking back, the last time they were alone was at the Boundary Mountain. "I should spend more time with her," Jiang Fan said. True Word Venerable shook her head. "She doesn't want companionship, she wants strength." For other women, True Word Venerable rarely empathizes, but this unassuming Liu Qingxian she pays extra attention to. Because like her, Liu Qingxian is very proud inside. Liu Qingxian has cultivated to the 7-orifice nascent soul, only one step from Gu Zinner, just lacking the 8-orifice nascent soul and divinity transformation process. Yet when Gu Zinner was at the nascent soul realm, Liu Qingxian had just joined the heavenly mechanism pavilion, only at the core formation realm. Moreover, Liu Qingxian didn't have elders like Red Demon Venerable to guide her. She was just an ordinary Green Cloud Sect master's daughter. She has closed the gap between them to a single step, showing how hard she cultivates. And her hard-earned nascent soul, true word Venerable understands. She hopes to be worthy of Jiang Fan, nothing more. Hence, she never complains about Jiang Fan's lack of companionship because she won't seek charity from him. She wants to prove with her actions that she's worthy of Jiang Fan. At least she can't be inferior to the women around Jiang Fan, like True Word Venerable and Yunshang. Jiang Fan was stunned, strength. Liu Qingxian wants to be stronger, surpassing Yunshang and True Word Venerable, but it's not that simple. True Word Venerable has been in divinity transformation for years, with deep foundations. Yunshang has the Heavenly Fox bloodline, able to absorb Jiang Fan's cultivation for progress. What does Liu Qingxian have? Overcoming them both, how can this be easy? Kriak, the stone door opened, and a bright silhouette in a purple gown appeared before everyone. As the former Nine Sect's top beauty, Liu Qingxian's beauty is undeniable, her appearance captivating all. "Husband, you're finally back," Liu Qingxian exclaimed with surprise, unabashedly rushing into Jiang Fan's embrace. Jiang Fan smiled. Liu Qingxian has always been clear about her likes and dislikes, never hiding her emotions. He pondered how to help Liu Qingxian grow stronger when she suddenly climbed out from his embrace, frowning and staring at his chest. "What's this that's so hot?" Hot." Jiang Fan was taken aback. How come he didn't feel it? With suspicion, he took out the only mirror he had and the Heavenly Thunder Stone. Liu Qingxian pointed at the mirror and said, "It's this one." Jiang Fan was puzzled. This is a space mirror, meant only for storing people and little Killin, never anything extra. Wait, little Killin. He remembered seeing before the little golden glowing dots in the little Killin's mouth. Could it be that thing that's making Liu Qingxian feel hot? But why is she the only one feeling heat? With doubts in mind, he took out the sleeping little Killin, its small mouth still shimmering with golden brilliance. Jiang Fan grabbed it by the tail, turned it upside down, and gave it a shake. Little Killin's mouth opened, and a thumb-sized golden little sword clattered to the ground. "That's it!" Liu Qingxian frowned, retreating a step back. Jiang Fan looked shocked. "Where did the little Killin get this small sword from? I've never seen it play with this before." Frowning and pondering for a moment, he was suddenly startled. Could this be brought back from the Sumeru Divine Prison? Because the little Killin rarely left his sight. The last time was in the Sumeru Divine Prison. This little guy, where did it bring back such a strange, golden little sword from? Even more bizarre is that neither Jiang Fan nor Yunshang, True Words, and Gong Kei felt anything when facing this sword. Only Liu Qingxian seemed to be facing a ball of magma at close range. Her skin was reddened by the heat from a distance, hot steam constantly emanating from her body, and her breathing became rapid. Seeing that the situation was not good, Jiang Fan hurriedly tried to grasp the little sword through the air to seal it. Unexpectedly, the golden little sword seemed to also sense Liu Qingxian and suddenly shot toward her. This scene happened so suddenly that Jiang Fan was completely unprepared. He watched helplessly as the little sword shot right into Liu Qingxian's forehead. Ah! As if magma had entered her body, Liu Qingxian let out a painful and miserable groan. "Yunshang, separate it!" Jiang Fan's expression changed dramatically, and he quickly said. Yunshang decisively initiated her reshaped domain, trying to separate the little sword from Liu Qingxian's body first. Who knew her domain entered Liu Qingxian's body, like mud cows sinking into the sea? Seeing the domain was ineffective, Jiang Fan decisively drew the Tingsu sword, intending to freeze it with ice, but as he was about to act, Liu Qingxian said, "No. Wait a moment." Her expression no longer showed the pain from before, and the small hole pierced by the little sword on her forehead was rapidly healing. Under Jiang Fan's incredulous gaze, the look of pain on Liu Qingxian's face gradually ceased. In just 10 breaths, she was already soaked in sweat, collapsing powerlessly. Jiang Fan quickly supported her, looked closely, and found that the scar on her forehead had turned into a faintly discernible golden little sword tattoo. He scanned Liu Qingxian's body with his soul but saw no injuries. On the contrary, Liu Qingxian's soul seemed to have an extra strand of airflow filled with strong pressure. "Qingxian, sense your soul," Jiang Fan said with concern. Liu Qingxian mustered her strength, closed her eyes, and immersed her heart's spirit into her soul. Full 2 hours later, Liu Qingxian slowly opened her eyes. Her eyes were filled with unbelievable color. "Husband, have you ever met the one-armed sword Saint Elder?" One-armed sword saint. Jiang Fan was taken aback, then asked, "Are you talking about the one-armed old man who taught you in your dreams?" Liu Qingxian excitedly nodded repeatedly. Yes, it's him." Jiang Fan said, "No, I haven't." Liu Qingxian said, "No, you must have seen him. This small sword contains a trace of the one-armed sword saint's remnant soul and his saint's inheritance." Huh. Saint's inheritance? Not to mention Yunshang and true words, even Jiang Fan was so shocked that he couldn't speak. He had heard Gu Zinner mention that Liu Qingxian's dream teaching was the saint's path, but he didn't pay too much attention to it. Never did he expect that it was truly the saint's path. The one-armed old man she dreamed of was indeed a saint. What surprised him even more was, where did little Killin get hold of a saint's remnant soul and inheritance? Could it be from the second layer of the Sumeru divine prison, from the cage they hadn't had time to open? Thinking of this, he couldn't help but worry. He's already witnessed how terrifying saints are. A saint's body, dead for who knows how many years, even when just left there, caused a great venerate of the heavenly human 5 declines to turn to ashes just by touching it. And its remnant soul, how easily could it be dealt with? "Qingxian, did this remnant soul say anything?" Jiang Fan asked calmly. Liu Qingxian nodded, looking gravely at little Killin, and said, "The elder says to be cautious of this divine beast. Its cause and effect are too great, you may not be able to bear it." Jiang Fan looked at the sleeping little Killin, not feeling too surprised. The little Killin was like a saint, locked in that unknown existence on the second layer. It would indeed be strange if it didn't carry some significant cause and effect. "And what else?" Jiang Fan asked. "What does he want to do inside you?" Liu Qingxian's expression became complex, and she said, "The elder wants to take me back to the martial vault to inherit his life's accumulation, and in return I must do something for him." Jiang Fan abruptly sat up, sternly saying, "Refuse it. Let him out, a saint's remnant soul, willing to offer his life's accumulation just to fulfill his dying wish. How could it be a small matter? 9 deaths for 1 life would be the least. It might not even be a dead end." Liu Qingxian was silent for a while. Clenching her fist, she said, "I want to go." "What?" Jiang Fan said, "Are you crazy? The other party might not have good intentions." Liu Qingxian's eyes were resolute. As if returning to the proud little peacock she was when in the green cloud sect, she said, "I know, but I have to try. I don't want to always hide behind you, to be always protected by you. I want to become strong, to be like before in the green cloud sect, to become senior sister Liu who protects you, not the Liu Qingxian who has lost herself. The current me, I really dislike it." Jiang Fan looked at the person before him, feeling both familiar and unfamiliar. It turned out he never truly understood Liu Qingxian's heart. He opened his mouth to persuade her, but was interrupted by true words. "Husband, let her go. She's like me, both have unfulfilled wishes. If not completed, she'll feel uneasy even by your side." Jiang Fan's heart trembled slightly. Yet another unexpected farewell. Looking at Jiang Fan's desolate face, Liu Qingxian's gaze softened. She stepped forward to cup his face and said, "Remember when you took on the rescue mission alone to Tai Lake to save me?" Jiang Fan nodded. He certainly remembered. That time, Liu Qingxian and several disciples were patrolling Tai Lake when they were attacked by the Blood Flood Dragon and Sea Charm, their life and death unknown. Upon finding out, Jiang Fan decisively took on the task to rescue. He finally saved her in a cracked glacial canyon. Tears shimmered in Liu Qingxian's eyes. "From the moment you saved me, I vowed in my heart that I would never fail your kindness in this life. If you are a mundane man, I will be with you and grow old together on this continent. If you are a true dragon in the heavens, I will strive to soar to the 9 heavens with you and roam the celestial sphere. But you now are the hero of Boundary Mountain, the meritorious figure in the battle against ancient giants, the #1 divinity transformation in Central Earth, the leader of Central Earth's counterattack against the heavenly realm. And I, just an ordinary woman, more and more unworthy of you. Husband, let me go. I want to become stronger for you. Even if it means dying, I'm willing." No one understood how anxious and repressed she felt watching Jiang Fan soar higher and higher. Sword Heart Engraving was first comprehended by Jiang Fan, and then passed on to Su Yoren, Su Yining, and Chen Silin. But only she perceived her dream teaching. This surely had something to do with her state of mind. Among the women around Jiang Fan, none of them craved strength as much as she did. Now, with an unprecedented opportunity before her, she couldn't give it up. Jiang Fan stared at Liu Qingxian, internally struggling. Both letting go and not letting go were hard choices. Suddenly, Liu Qingxian's expression turned blank for a moment. Then she became enthused and said, "Husband, The elder says to bring out the execution pen.